Sliwa, Travis and Sliwa is on for your Thursday. We're here each weekday, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. We begin 9 hours of LA sports talk all day long.
Here we go.
Live from LA Live. Sweet Tea, Travis Rogers. Hit him in the face, Sliwa.
I'll still take the face.
Travis and Sliwa right now.
Yeah. Happy Thursday mid-morning to you, Alan.
You as
Sliwa.
well, Travis Rogers.
It's nice to see you again.
It's good to see everybody here.
Nice. You said you're going to go warm up your coffee a second ago, and I'm like, wait, we're on the air in like 19 seconds.
Yeah.
And you're back in time. I was impressed.
Well, I ended up not warming up.
I was going to say, that was pretty
what
quick.
it is. I don't know why I have this. Every show, there's kind of like a mad rush, as if something changed. Like I forget the show starts at 10. There's always a mad rush in the last couple of minutes. I'm always asking Taylor, what time we're on? He's, Al, we're on at 10.
10.
It's been 10 for a couple years now,
Can I
Al.
just spoil the surprise?
Sure.
Tomorrow will be 10.
I think you like it like that, though. You like the chaos, Lee.
It's a little bit of, organized chaos, whatever you want to call it.
I think that's what it is. It's that I'm going to forget my lines right before you walk out on the stage. You know you're going to be all right.
I forget the headphones. Where are my headphones? I leave them in this studio. I leave them in that side. I don't know what's going on.
So I had a weird. I don't know what it is. I don't know. It just. I was home last night. Mm-hmm. Dodgers played early, so there was Angel baseball on too. But whatever. That's not quite the same thing.
Yep.
And the finality of the Lakers being done finally kind of like, oh right, they're not playing for a while. They're not going to play another game for many, many months along the way. That even though you can kind of see it coming, they're getting set up to get swept, and they do get swept, and then LeBron talks about what he talks about, and then it's kind of the post-mortem of the whole thing. And then, like yesterday, I'm like, wait, what am I going to watch at night? Like, there's no more Laker basketball every other night like there's been for, 6 months, maybe 7 months, 8 months, whatever it's been.
Closer to 8.
Yeah, 8 months. There's been something every other night to see. It was just kind of like, well, now what do I do? Every year, it's kind of a... I've gone. What are Emily? You always know this. The 7 stages of denial.
Yep.
Or whatever it is.
7 stages of grief.
Of grief. Thank you.
First one is what's the first one?
I don't
Just
know.
denial. I think
So it's denial,
Yeah.
then anger, then bargaining, then depression,
I think I'm in that.
Oh, I'm in denial.
then acceptance
I'm
and
still
hope.
in denial.
and then processing of grief.
Yeah, I think
Acceptance and hope doesn't come till probably August.
I'm not into acceptance and hope. I'm at denial. Or depression, I should say. It's just like, now what?
So yesterday
Now
was
what do I
also
do?
supposed to be Game 5, so it's a little bit different too. Okay, Tuesday we knew they were out, but they wouldn't be playing on a Tuesday anyways. Yesterday was I'm supposed to be going to the arena right now, right. Or not even I'm supposed to be coming back to the studio,
Watch
whatever.
it on TV.
Yesterday was also the first day where on the schedule, when it says if necessary,
Not necessary.
it wasn't necessary. That's the Game 5. The Game 5, if necessary. Of course it's necessary. You're not going to lose 4 in a row. They lost 4 in a row.
Still on the schedule, unnecessary. Instead of if necessary, we've moved into unnecessary categories.
Yeah, it takes a second. I think I'm with you because now the question is when you go into these the 7 stages, you also find yourself you got kind of are you going to make good decisions?
Oh, keep going.
Are you going to make poor decisions?
Should I start?
You tell me. I'm because I fell into this yesterday.
You know my habits pretty well by now, right?
Yep. In bed by 8:45.
I like to be.
Yeah.
Like 9:30.
3 martinis
Like
instead of 2?
warmer. So Michael's baseball season ended, 2 weeks ago? The next one started yesterday. Okay, so there was a game yesterday.
Oh, my God.
So Chris is right.
So
it's always there.
It's very rarely not the baseball season. So Susan and I go to watch Michael's baseball game, and game ends. We're like, well, what do you want to do? And I don't really feel like cooking, and she didn't really feel like cooking. Like, let's go out and get a bite to eat. So we went to that new place that we really liked last time. We went back again last night. Sat at the bar this time. Terrible idea. Terrible idea.
Talk to me. What happened?
Nothing but great things. But we're sitting there. The bar's right. Ooh, that looks pretty. What are you making right there? Oh, that looks pretty. You know what? I'm just going to go with the classic. I'm just going with my typical martini. Have it. Had a wonderful little appetizer. Had a wonderful entree and all these things. And then the lady comes. Can I get you another drink? And this is the demarcation line of you can just have a normal night and say no, thank you, I'm fine.
Yep.
Or now we're turning a Wednesday into a Saturday.
Do it.
Right. That's exactly what happened. So I said, yeah, you know what? I will have another one. Just 2. It stopped at 2. It wasn't crazy, but then that led to, hey, have you ever had the blueberry cobbler with lemon ice cream?
They got
no, I
you on
haven't,
that.
but that sounds really good.
Why
don't you bring one of those out?
Yep.
And it just turned into this massive food spiral because I didn't have to get home and watch TV. There was no game to watch.
I don't. Sometimes if you're going down, you want somebody to go down with you. That happens a lot.
Yes.
I'm really happy you told that story because yesterday around 7 o'clock, my girl had already told me, she's like, hey, let's grill some chicken tonight. Okay. I'm like, okay. So at 10 or at 9 a.m. in the morning, 8 a.m. whenever she told me, I'm like, okay, that sounds like a good idea. But then when I was here at the office,
oh right,
all there was yesterday in the kitchen was chicken.
Pretty good too.
So I went in on the chicken like I've never had chicken before. Kind of got, I had enough chicken for the day. I had enough chicken for the day. So get back to Pasadena, and around 7, she's like, okay, hey, let's grill this chicken. I'm like, I don't want chicken. I just had chicken a couple hours ago. And she's like, all right, but I thought we were going to. Yeah, I thought we agreed. I'm like, all right, let's grill the chicken, but I just can't promise you that I'm going to eat the chicken.
Yeah.
So she makes, this is the good decision or poor decision. She makes really nice salad, just avocado and tomato, puts a little oil and vinegar on there.
Sounds nice.
She makes some grilled chicken breast, and it looks like, hey, this is a very good meal.
Yeah.
I decided while she was grilling the chicken.
McDonald's.
There's a place in Pasadena, Bambino's.
Okay.
It's a pizza joint.
The place that they don't know your name?
No. That's a different one.
That one's a sit-down place. I'm assuming this place is probably not that.
This is not a. This is your typical.
Welcome to Bambino's. Wait, let us tell you what this place is about. Yeah, I've been here 6 times.
This is a typical pizza joint, and I basically just want some pizza and wings.
Okay.
The chicken is grilling. We're a couple minutes away from this being done. She already made the salad. Everything's already prepared. I'm on the phone with Bambino's, and I'm ordering the Bambino. Okay. By the way, it's a great name.
Bambino for like Babe Ruth?
I think so.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that's what it is. And it just sounds, if a place is called Bambino and it's a pizza joint, doesn't it already sound like it's a good pizza joint?
It does.
Okay.
It does.
So I'm ordering pizza and wings while she's.
That's very odd.
Very odd. So what
Very
is she
on brand, though? I gotta tell you,
not really. I would go with the chicken.
No, that it's just kind of a offshoot when you're kind of like, we're going here, and I'm just going to go over here. Like that's kind of your move.
I just wasn't in the mood for it. And then you know what she does? Then she just has a small piece of chicken. Now she's waiting for the pizza to come. Ended up with pizza and wings.
Throw the salad in the trash.
No, I didn't touch the salad. I think she ate the salad while I was out driving over there.
Well, yeah. Look, the Lakers getting eliminated has affected us in a variety of ways. That
affects everybody differently.
You went to Bambino's. I had a second martini on a Wednesday, which I almost never do. And look, it wasn't the worst night I've ever had. It was
pizza was delicious. I'm with you.
I'm sure it was.
I watched so I also babysat last night, so I'll talk about that a little later. But
she's moonlighting as a babysitter.
Okay.
But before that,
but by the way, and I'm going to leave it up to you, Em, to what part you want to tell about this.
Yeah.
She's a babysitter to the stars.
Okay.
Somewhat.
Yes. Multiple.
Okay.
More than one. Multiple stars.
Okay.
But I before I babysat, I watched this documentary that I thought was going to be like really interesting and intriguing because it had something that I actually have gone through, and it turned out to be so bad. It's like such a bad documentary, so poorly made. It's just like
falling
honestly
apart
laughable.
here, guys.
So it's just like, why did I waste so much time on it? But it's about, it's called Bama Rush. So it's about the Alabama Rush documentary, and it blew up on TikTok.
I know it.
Yes. Did you watch the documentary?
I have not watched it, but Susan and Kelly are in the process of.
It is okay. So let me just lay out why this is bad. So again,
have you ever seen those videos? I'm sorry, Em. Have you ever seen those videos of like the "Welcome to the Alpha Phi House at the University of Alabama," and they walk you through it?
You want to be Alpha Phi, and then you do these like stacks in the doors or whatever.
Yes.
So that's essentially what this movie is trying to like get into. But obviously Kelly and Susan are interested because they both went through the rush process as well. If you've gone through the rush process, you don't learn anything. Nothing is new to you. Nothing is interesting. They don't get into any secret stuff. They touch some stuff.
Is there secret stuff?
Yes. There's also the Machine at Alabama. So that's this group of people, Machine, that picks both the candidates to be the student council presidents, gubernatorial things in Alabama. Like, they control a lot of the politics of Alabama through the University of Alabama machine, and they barely touched it. And I was like, I needed a whole documentary on just that.
On the machine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they went away. The director puts herself in it, like, way too much. This is a director, she has alopecia, which is a serious thing to deal with, but she interjects it all the time. I'm like, this is not.
She has alopecia?
Yeah, this is not an alopecia documentary. This is a documentary about Bama Rush.
That's the one where you lose your hair, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. It's what Jada Pinkett Smith has.
Okay.
But it's just the whole time
We're
I was
all
like,
screwed.
what are we here for? We're here for Bama Rush, not for this. We want to see the stacks.
Taylor, did you
we want to
fall
see
apart?
the outfits.
Or Taylor's
He
probably
liked
in
it.
heaven. Yeah, he's the guy.
He's
His
the one
Nuggets
that-
have moved on, and
He's like, finally the Lakers are out.
Taylor is basically saying, "Man, we needed this rest before
We got
the
some
finals."
small market teams playing in the finals. I love it, man.
Yeah.
Ooh, the best thing ever.
Yeah.
Small market.
He said, finally, we got that Nuggets Heat
I'm not-
final
I'm
that
not
the
Get
against-
world is
OKC
clamoring
Sacramento
for.
next.
I'm not against that.
It's impossible,
I'm a
but-
fan of the small market teams. Just they had to go through the Lakers to get there.
Why are you a fan of the small market
I got
teams?
no problem with it. Denver's never
Why?
been in the
You're
You're
NBA
a fan of
finals.
the Lakers. Why would you want to see a small market team in?
I think this is then the foundation of it. I'm from San Diego. They don't do anything.
Emily, I just have my first pick now. In our,
Oh, my
our
God.
draft coming up. We got our Thursday draft where we're gonna pick things / people / athletes that we root against, that we like to root against. So,
Yes, succinctly, teams, athletes you actively root against.
You can't just pick small market teams as one of your
Oh,
picks. That's
I have
too long of a list.
I have the first pick in the draft, and our commissioner over there sometimes gives me a wide berth. So we'll see what she says.
We'll see.
We already have
We'll
the
see.
draft order.
We'll see.
Yeah, we have the draft order, and it was picked by DeAndre this time. And again, I have people watching.
I saw DeAndre and Travis in the studio
We
together.
had a nice long
for-
talk this morning.
Right, which
They're best friends.
instantly makes it shady. You're the number one pick.
We had a nice long
Yes,
talk.
it's Travis, then Taylor, then Emily, then Alan.
Then
Alan, you have a
Travis
fourth
again.
pick, so that's good.
Bro,
You're fourth 2 weeks in a
we're
row.
working
Slee.
nights together. We're working mornings together. You give him
What are
the
you gonna do?
first.
What are you going to do? All right. You had Lakers talk last night, right?
Yeah.
You had Wendy on?
Yep.
And you said that he was optimistic about optionality. I'm going to need you to explain that to me. That's coming up next. It's Travis Lee, 710 ESPN.
All right, what if a quarterback completed 4 out of 5 of his passes or a point guard hit 4 out of 5 shots behind the arc? Well, now when you're hiring, you can play at that level because 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter's matching technology identifies people with the right skills and experience and invites them to apply to your job. To try ZipRecruiter for free, our listeners can go to ZipRecruiter.com/Greeny. That's ZipRecruiter.com/Greeny. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
For ESPN LA contest rules, go to ESPNLA.com and click the contest button. The GOAT, 6 rings, 5-time MVP, the Shrug, the Flu Game. There is only one MJ. Yamaba Resort.
So we've all been talking about how we've been dealing with the Lakers season being over. And, we are all dealing with it in different ways. I watched the Bama Rush documentary, and it's terrible. Al, you saw your girlfriend cooking chicken. Yeah,
Yeah.
Went off the deep
Pizza
end.
and wings.
Yeah. And Trav went to the baseball game and had drinks when he probably shouldn't have. So, but Christopher Holmes adds, so question of the day is, how has the Lakers being done affected you? He answered, he started reading. So, hey, that's a net positive.
Yes.
Well, that makes me feel even worse. It makes me feel even worse that he's making decisions like
maybe
that.
He's reading like the ingredients labels on food bottles.
Could be.
Yeah, or like People magazine, like something that's not actually great. But yeah, how have you been dealing with the Lakers' loss and being out of the playoffs? So 877-710-3776.
And which degree or which stage of grief are you going through as well?
Denial.
So you're still in denial, but you think they're going to wave off those last couple of buckets and they're going to play again?
No, just nothing has sunk in. I don't believe that it only took 4 games. I don't believe that they don't have a game at Ball Arena. I don't believe that the Nuggets have 4 weeks off before the final starts.
Gosh, that's a bad deal.
Well, they're a little lucky right now. Let's say Boston wins tonight.
Yeah.
So now you're on Saturday.
Way, no Gaucho Gabe Vincent for the Heat, so the Heat's chances are just dropping like a stone.
If they would have got swept and they had 8 or 9 days, it would have been awful. Okay, if they get to Saturday and now all of a sudden it ends, you still have 5 days in between the finals starting. A little bit better than what they were going to have.
Better. Look, once the series is over, give the winning team of the final series to end a couple of days off and start the day after that.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I mean, that just seems like the normal thing to do. Mm-hmm. That you don't sitting around and wait. I understand the TV part of it all, but I don't know. I just
do you need
those games.
Do you need anything else on your pizza? Sausage, pepperoni, red onion, green peppers, and olives.
Sure. I mean, I would.
And are you taking it? Oh, actually, mushrooms as well. You taking
would,
anything off?
I would literally order that pizza that you just described.
I know.
That would be one of those that could have shown up on my doorstep.
She's taking some toppings off it. More toppings for me.
Yeah, no, you're not throwing those in the trash. You're putting them right here. I just sent Emily a text out of context. I have a fish head story that I need to, like an actual head of a fish that I have to run by you guys.
Not surprising at all. Yeah, I think Taylor and I thought something like this would come up today.
Also, you know what, Emily? I'm going to send you this picture, and then we can maybe post it on social because I took a. We'll get into it. I have fish head takes that we need to get to on the Travis and Sliwa show today. You had Windhorse last night. We were talking a little bit before we came on the air today that you said that you thought that he was optimistic about the options that the Lakers have going into the season because I think it's one of the most interesting parts of the Laker offseason, which has started, is what are the order of operations, right? Is the first order of, LeBron, what's up? Is it Kyrie? Is it depth behind AD? Is it keeping Austin Reeves? Is it keeping Rui? Is it figuring out what to do with Deal? There are so many different things that they need to get done. And where do you start to do them? Is there an order of operations, or does it just one beget the next?
So, Windhorse, who I think is, I think if I explain as best as I can his personality, look, he's critical, very critical, and he spent a lot of time talking about how shocked he was that the Lakers got this far. Give them credit. No, you should be optimistic if you're a Laker fan that they did what they did. But he was also very optimistic about the offseason. I'll explain at least the way he explained it to me. The franchise doesn't need to panic. Don't panic this offseason. Don't panic that, hey, we got to move heaven and earth because we got to go get another superstar. Hey, we got to, you know what, don't sign all these players because this is it. This is going to be the final year that you get an opportunity to win an NBA championship potentially with LeBron James. Don't panic. That they're actually in a really good spot because they have options. I'll give you what some of those options are. I
want to interrupt right there because this is not the feeling that had been there at the end of the last 2 previous seasons. Before, there was a sense of desperation in the air that you had to take home run swings. Like, hey, let's go get Russell Westbrook, right? The big home run swings. Or, hey, get rid of those first 2 round draft picks and go make a big deal at the deadline and go get Kyrie Irving.
Fix this
today, right now. And that you fixed it on the margins And like we talked about yesterday, you fixed it more by what left than
Addition
more than by
by
what came in. Mm-hmm. And now it's, okay, the bones of success are here. You don't have to, build a Frankenstein basketball team. Just let this thing continue to develop the way that it did. And that's a totally different thing than it was a couple of years ago.
Well, I think the other part of it is this. If let's just say they bring the same team back, okay? Jared Vanderbilt is back. D'Angelo Russell gets a new contract with the Lakers. Mm-hmm. Malik Beasley, who has a team option, let's say they pick up his team option. Part of the flexibility that I think Windhorst is talking about is, can you go out there right now and go try to get Kyrie Irving? You can. But you're basically going to be left with Kyrie, Austin Reeves, LeBron James, Anthony Davis. The rest of your roster, you're going to have to try to piece together minimum contracts. You're not going to have depth. There's risk in doing that. Mm-hmm. The other option is, let's just say you didn't find a deal that you liked in the offseason. Or let's say Kyrie wanted a 4-year deal and you're not willing to give Kyrie a 4-year deal.
I really hope that somebody
crazy,
heard you say that.
That's crazy that you're not willing to give him a 4-year deal.
I need that etched into a piece of stone. Like when the Notre Dame guys come out and say, play like a champion today, and they slap it?
Don't give Kyrie a 4-year.
Give Kyrie a 4-year deal. Should be hanging over every doorway in every NBA office.
In El Segundo.
Everywhere. The whole league. Do not give this a picture of Kyrie with the number 4 and a line through it. That's what should be in every league office.
That's a good trait for you to think of that when you think of a player. That's solid.
Well earned.
Yeah.
Not pulled out of thin air.
The Kyrie thing, I go back and forth on. I mean, listen, the long-term deal is a no-brainer. I wouldn't do that. But to have him on a short-term deal with the Lakers, I don't think that's crazy. I think there's some risk that comes with it.
Sure.
But I also think that there could be some advantages. But I'll play it this way. Windhorst's concept and idea is, if they don't find something they like in the offseason that doesn't make sense, it's okay to bring back the same team. It's okay to say Vanderbilt's still on the team. The Beasley one's interesting because he's $16 million, but this is what happens once the season starts. And I think this is his point. They got options. You can go you can see how the season is going and how it's progressing, and then before the trade deadline comes up, there are other teams that are going to say, this guy's on the final year of his contract. We just want to move on and get some assets for him. Mm-hmm. They still have that 2029 first-round pick. They're not in a position where, I'll tell you, Lakers lost, and we had the conversation the next day. And the conversation the next day was, they don't have enough talent. The West is only going to get better.
They're a little short.
They're a little short, right? And maybe they hit it perfect because they beat Minnesota and they didn't get Denver in the first round. They didn't get swept in the first round.
That desperation, if they had gotten Denver in the first round.
Yeah.
And by the way, you're 5 minutes away from that. 5 minutes away from that happening. 1 or 2 shots going a different way.
Or Rudy Gobert not punching his own player the game before.
100%. It was very close to being a 4-game sweep right out of the chute. And that desperation that we're talking about not being there, the optionality that they have right now that is there, the optimism that is potentially there, isn't. Nobody's optimistic. If this team had gotten swept by the Nuggets 4 straight, even if the scores were exactly this, games played exactly the same way.
Sure.
The Nuggets still advance to the NBA Finals. Mm-hmm. You're not sitting there going, we're really close. Not a chance.
No, you're not. You're right.
Not a chance.
No, you're not.
The desperation and hey, we got to fix this, and we got to fix it now would have been right back. It allowed everybody to go, okay, let's take a look at this, and that's valuable.
They're going to have options. You want to have these guys. There's an advantage to having D'Lo under a contract than letting D'Lo walk away, is because you could potentially use D'Lo or use some of these other players to go make a deal if things aren't working out. You could potentially use these players to go find a player that is in the final year of his contract. You can use that 2029 pick. I think ultimately what I got out of him is they don't need to panic.
And I want to throw one more thing in there, too, because I agree with that. But I think there's – and you meant when you said Beasley, it's what sparked this thought. The most likely scenario, if they bring this team back, right, and with most of these guys, and with a guy like Beasley back on the team, the most likely scenario next year is that LeBron plays 50-ish games.
Yeah.
Right? That Anthony Davis probably plays somewhere 50-ish games,
agree.
right? Maybe 60 if everything breaks really. But that means there's 20-plus games where he's not there, potentially 30-plus games where he's not there. Your two best guys could miss time, and frequently they might miss time at the same time. You're just going to need NBA players to play NBA minutes. Malik Beasley may not have been the perfect fit for the league. He can play NBA basketball.
Yeah.
He can make shots. He can get you some buckets along the way. And this is what they didn't have early in the season, that they were running teams out there that were not of NBA caliber. Vanderbilt, Beasley, Russell, Mo Bamba, that's NBA quality basketball players, right? That you can get through those 20 or 25, 30 games that those guys aren't playing. You're going to need those guys because AD did miss some time after the deadline, and LeBron missed a lot of time after the deadline. And those guys,
4 weeks.
That's what I'm saying. They were still able to kind of hang around because they had built a team that didn't exist prior to that. So those guys that maybe, he didn't fit in great. Yeah, but you're going to need those guys were important for that run to just keep your head above the water.
And it makes it easier for someone like Pelinka to have, I don't have one guy that's worth $47 million that I got to get rid of. That I have now 3-4 guys. It's kind of actually what they got back in return. By the trade deadline, yes, they traded away 4 or 5 guys, but they got real players that fit, and they got 4 or 5 of them. So that dawned on me for a quick second because I think there's a natural reaction. Whenever you have LeBron, you feel the pressure of, we got to get everything right now. Uh-huh. And for 2 years, or a year and a half, they had Russell Westbrook, and they waited for the right – they know they screwed it up, but they waited for the right time to get rid of him. And some real assets came back. You don't have to panic like maybe you felt like you had to panic a year ago.
All right, Laker fans, how are you dealing with the fact that there's no more Laker basketball for a few months? How are you dealing with the abrupt end of the season? Let's try Van Nuys, and David is our first stop. David, you're on with Travis.
What's up? Painting.
Sculpting?
Hey, guys.
What's up?
Hey, guys. Good morning. Well, it's very tough. I mean, I find myself on TV scrolling and happen to jump. I have Spectrum, so like always, I'll go to channel 43, which is a Lakers channel, and it's always Backstage Lakers now, which is frustrating. So in order to get the frustration out, I'll find myself in my room on the PlayStation playing Call of Duty and looking for Denver Nugget fans to argue with.
Very healthy, David.
How does as someone
Taylor in that chat?
As someone who's not a video game guy, how do you go and locate a Nuggets fan on Call of Duty? How does that work?
Well, so I have my headset on, and as soon as the match starts, I'll throw out, "Hey, any Denver Nugget fans out here?" And if anybody's gutsy enough to say yes, oh boy, the fun starts. It's a lot of going back and forth and trying to find each other on the map and have some fun with each other.
That's great, David. Thank you for the call. I love that. I wonder if, hey, are there any Nuggets fans in this game? If nobody goes, no, he drops out and starts a new game waiting for Nugget fans.
He needs to go on 2K and then just create the biggest super team around the Lakers and just crush the Nuggets.
No, you don't even need to do that. You need to go into their. I'm sure there's somebody that covers the Nuggets on YouTube, or they have the Locked On Nuggets or something like that.
Oh, they got that.
Just get in those chats. Get in those chats.
Just go in there and raise
The problem is, I don't know what you're going to say that they're going to be like, we don't have time for this.
It doesn't matter. You're not trying to win the argument. You just want an argument. You just want, sometimes, Slee, some people just want to fight. They don't even necessarily want to win the fight.
But if you're 100% right. But I think there's a little bit of being in that chat. Whatever trash that you talk, they're probably like, my man, just
but if you
pull to the side here.
People will always take the bait. And
it's
some people are agents of chaos. Have you ever met Chris Morales, where they just come in and start throwing bombs to see what happens on the side?
All right, got 2 more, and then we can break. But we got one from Cap from Whittier, which actually sounds like it's a Travis Rogers tweet. But Cap says, the season's over. I've been going to the golf range after work and watching the Food Network. All right, so filling your time with that.
Yeah, that's my burner account just tweeted by itself.
Right, and then Jason Torres says, I'm coping with trash TV, Vanderpump Reunion, which also is great, and Below Deck, Selling Sunset, etc. Watch the Bama Rush documentary. It'll add to that too. All
right, we got some more phone calls that we want to get to about how you're dealing with the oddly abrupt. They got much further than anybody thought.
Yeah, and then it ended a lot faster than
4
anybody
games.
thought.
Like, no, I don't think anybody, even down 3-0, it felt like it was going to go back to Denver, and yet here we are. Plus, I got to figure out that fish head and whether or not you can help me with that. That's coming up. It's Travis Lee, 710 ESPN.
All right, I want to talk a little bit about Power Pro Plumbing, Heating, and Air. They are celebrating 20 years in the industry, 30-plus years of industry experience across the Power Pro team. It doesn't necessarily mean you need their services today or you need their services tomorrow, but I really, really want to emphasize, if you have a plumbing issue, HVAC issue, heater, air conditioning, we replaced a heating and AC unit about a year ago in our place in Pasadena, and of course use Power Pro. They are professional. They really, really do care about customer service. They are the absolute best in the industry, and the website is powerproplumbing.com. Listen, some other things that I will point out, the owner there, Raul Rodriguez, they've been doing it here in Southern California for a number of years. Big sports fans. Really, really support 710 ESPN and support this radio station. Whenever it is that you feel like you have an issue, just go to powerproplumbing.com. It really, really is the easiest solution. You don't have to have a headache about it. I think there's certain things in the industry. Hey, do I have a guy that I could rely on in this industry? Yes, you do. It's powerproplumbing.com, powerproplumbing.com.
Each weekday, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m., this is Travis and Sliwa on 710 ESPN.
I may not tell my fish head story because when I I showed you guys the picture, I showed it to Emily and kind of told her what's going on. She's like, yeah, you're a bad guy. So if I'm trying to win man of the people,
Right.
I don't know if I need a story of me purposefully antagonizing my wife.
No, now you have to
going to be a
tell it.
man of the people.
Yeah, Taylor, we're too far.
I don't know.
Too deep into
know.
the story here without telling it.
ESPNLA.com.
I'll
is
tell
where
the
you can
damn
go
story.
to vote for the Mandy Awards. You have till the end of the month. You got till February. Excuse me. Why do I keep saying February? May 31st. It's my Josh Fields situation. to vote. ESPNLA.com, brought to you by Power Pro Plumbing. Go vote for all of your favorite Travis and Sliwa-related programming. Vote for Emily, Taylor, Al, me, Man of the People, Show of the Year, Host of the Year, Producers of the Year, Bit of the Year, all of it. I think we got to get at least one.
By the way, it's easy. It literally takes a couple minutes to do. So just go on the website.
Finally do it?
Yeah, I finally did it.
Okay, good.
Yeah, finally did it.
Did you vote for me?
It just took a little bit of time. Man of the People.
Okay,
I did
good.
vote.
Thank you.
Yeah,
and you voted for our show.
Actually voted for. Yeah,
Sit on a gap. Hey, look! If you like that show,
we were
better,
second.
You should be honest.
Your vote, one man, one vote. You get to vote.
No, we need some awards. That's the bottom line.
Or is it one of those things where you feel like you can't vote for yourself
No,
because then it's against the rules kind of thing?
No, you can.
Yeah, no,
you can.
It's not against the rules, and you can vote for yourself, right? We all should be voting for ourselves. What is this in old school Chicago politics? Vote early, vote often. If
you're in line, stay in line.
That's right. Let's go to Chris in Los Angeles. Chris, you're on with Travis Lee. What's up, Chris?
Good morning, gentlemen. I'm at the acceptance stage of this because if you think about where we were about a month ago, we were just praying that we would even make the playoffs. And to think that we went to the final Western Conference Finals and literally should have, could have easily won all 4 games. But that doesn't mean I didn't go through the anger phase with LeBron's choice of shots in those games. But overall, it was a good run, and the future is bright. Hopefully we bring some of the same guys back and add a couple of pieces. But, it was a good season. It's disappointing that we didn't win it all, but I think where we were about a month ago, this is pretty damn good.
Yeah, I agree with you, Chris. I think that the challenge is, you're right, that where they were, 6 months ago to where they ended is a miracle, literally. That where they were a month ago to where they ended is incredibly impressive, that they won a couple of series along the way. One thing that I would push back on is they could have won all of those games. Yeah, but when you win none of them, that's a harder argument to make. Like, had you lose in 5 games, 6 games, and all of them are really close, you're like, look, a bucket here, a bucket there. But when it's 4-0, it's 4-0, right? It's a little bit harder of a sell for me. And I think it's a incredibly important part of what Rob Pelinka does moving forward, that separating that, okay, this is where we were, where we got to, and relative to how good are we, right? They're good, but how good are they relative to the best teams in the league, to the best teams in that conference, to the teams that are going to be better next year, to just think, okay, well, we're one of the 4 best teams in the league. Well, you were this year, sort of, kind of, but don't fall into that trap of thinking you might be closer than you actually are.
You think Phoenix is just going to sit around and bring back the same squad?
Not a chance.
I don't, right? So the chances of them getting better is very likely. The Golden State Warriors are a great example. You think the Warriors, who is a franchise that's only accustomed to winning championships and being in the finals over the last 10 years, I think one of the things to pay most attention to is they got demolished by the Lakers.
They did.
So they know they have to go make changes.
And had trouble with the Kings.
And had trouble with the Kings. They know they have to go make changes, and that's a franchise that's been very creative in how they get better, how they improve. So the only reason why I set that up for you, even if you made it to the Final Four, but if you think that coming back and not making any changes and just assuming the rest of the league is coming back and not making any changes, these franchises are going to get better. They are. So if you play the Phoenix Suns a year from now or the Golden State Warriors, I'm not even counting the Denver Nuggets, who seem like a team
they're going to be the class of the conference.
Out of all the teams, don't need to do anything, just keep running it back. The challenge is only going to get more. Is only going to get more difficult.
I'm glad you brought up Golden State, because I think Golden State is when we went through the teams yesterday, I'll pull up my list from yesterday. They were not on my list,
You're right.
and purposely so. Because I agree with what you're saying, Al, that they're going to tinker with it and they're going to try to find a way to get better, obviously.
Done it for 10 years.
They absolutely have, but it doesn't mean it's going to work. Mm-hmm. That the core of that team is long in the tooth. And they've been together for a long time. This is the first season that we've seen in the better part of 8 years where they were in a championship mix and they just weren't one of those teams. The other ones that they, not last year when they won it, not the other times when they went to the finals. The other times where guys got hurt and they weren't playing. Yeah. They were bad, I don't want to say on purpose, but they were bad with a very obvious reason. This was the first time they've really tried to go for it, and they weren't anywhere near it. They're going to try to go for it again next year. I don't know if they're going to be better next year. Steph will be good. I don't know about Clay. I don't know about Draymond. I don't know if Jordan Poole kind of rediscovers what he was 2 years ago or whether he's more like what he was this year. I don't know if he and Draymond ever get on the same page again after he smacked him the way that he did. That could be something that is irreparable. That they're one of those teams that I really do think could either stay kind of where they were or actually drop a little bit, especially considering how much better the rest of the conference could be.
I'll tell you what they won't do. I don't think they're bringing back the same team.
I agree.
Yes, what you just said there. I don't. If Jordan Poole and Kuminga and Moody and some other young pieces are gone because they went in and brought veterans and they went in and brought guys that they think can help them win today and they're not as worried about tomorrow, I'd be shocked if they brought back the same team. You're right. You know, how many times did Steve Kerr say this since the season ended? He has said that Draymond Green, what happened in the preseason with Jordan Poole, divided. It was a division for that team. He's also said Draymond Green, we are not a championship contender unless we have Draymond Green. So the chances of them saying, we got young pieces here, we're going to get rid of them. We held on to them as long as we could. Some of them have value, some of this, whatever the case is. I could see them going to make moves and go get some veterans.
They're kind of with a much different resume, but they're kind of where the Lakers have been the last couple of years, which is, what are we doing here? In the sense of, do we just continue to maximize the Steph Curry experience? Do we continue to surround him with familiar faces? Do we continue to do the thing that we've done and nibble around the edges? Or do we have to put that alternate timeline in where Moody and Kuminga and Poole are actually the thing that we're getting ready for and use our veterans for other purpose? It's a really tough spot. The difference is they just won a title. They'd won 3 others prior to that. So they've already cashed in their stars. It's not like you have to, we haven't gotten nearly enough. If they can get another win out of that group, it's still one of the great dynasties in NBA history. Sure. But it is a weird spot that they find themselves in. And that rumor about LeBron going to Golden State is always kind of floating around there, that he goes up there and the Lakers take those guys that were tied. You take Kuminga, you take Poole, you take Wiggins, that you take that group of younger players and kind of flip it like that. I think that's a 1 in a million sort of situation that happens. It's unlikely, but that's kind of where they are. Just, do we actually get older and go for it one more time? Or do we say, no, we actually need to start thinking about what's coming up down the line? It's not dissimilar to the Lakers at all.
Usually teams like that, I'll use the Warriors as an example, if they still feel like we're a player or two and we're back in the mix. I'm going to give you some examples. And the Clippers are an interesting – here's another team we didn't really even talk about. But that's another team where they're saying to themselves, when's the last time we had Paul George and Kawhi Leonard healthy? Will it ever happen? Right? Is this we're chasing something that will never happen. It happened 3 years ago and it's never going to happen again. Okay, if it did click and it did happen, how good are they compared to some of the other teams in the Western Conference? I think it's the one unique thing about the West, and I think the Lakers are an interesting spot as well. There is a lot of teams are in their final stretch. Denver's just getting started, it seems like, right? Give me another team that you think is just getting started. Oklahoma City. They're just kind of starting this path.
Kings.
The Sacramento Kings just starting this path. But then you have
San Antonio.
You have some real superstars that are on other teams that you feel like 1 or 2 years and the whole thing is going to change. I don't know how long the Phoenix Suns with KD, the window's there, right?
Sure.
The Golden State Warriors is, we have to win today. We don't have tomorrow. We have to win today. The Lakers, we have to win today. There's a weird kind of you got some teams that are on the up and up. You got Denver is already there. And they're not, what would make you think that even if the Denver Nuggets make no moves, they have pretty much everything they need to be sustainable.
Yes.
Right? And the Lakers and the Warriors and the Clippers and some of these other teams are in this. We got to win right now.
There's a bit of it. The LeBron, KD, Steph, Chris Paul, and I'm sure I'm forgetting a few more guys.
Oh, you said KD. Yeah.
That group of these are the best players in the league. They're on the other side going down. And the Jokic, Giannis, Embiid, Luka, Lillard is in that other group. Like they're coming up. They're not at the top yet.
Shea.
You're starting to see that transition of LeBron James is no longer in the conversation of best. Top 10, 15, but top 5, not anymore. Kevin Durant, he didn't play a lot and he gets hurt a lot now. It's starting to change, and the Warriors are in the middle of that. The Lakers are in the middle of that. The Suns are in the middle of that. The Spurs just kind of went through the end of that and are coming through the other part. It changes, and you got to figure out where you are in it and go for it. Les Snead on our show after they won the Super Bowl. Know where you are in your window and know when it's time to go and know when it's time to not. And that's what they're trying to figure out right now. Hey, did you see? With Smitty coming up next. It's Trav and Slee, 710 ESPN. Hey, if you get hurt in an accident, you need to know who to call. And that, of course, is Sweet James. 800-9-million. 1-800-9-million. That's 1-800-900-0000. And when you make that call, what you get is nearly 20 years of experience and a winning record to the tune of over $1 billion in settlements. You heard me right. Sweet James has collected over $1 billion in settlements in his career because he's been awarded Best Attorneys in America, because he knows how the insurance companies operate, because he's going to put his own time, money, resources, and expertise into strengthening your case so you get that settlement that you deserve, so you get your medical bills taken care of, so your car is fixed the way that it's supposed to be fixed. So if you get hurt in an accident, car accident, motorcycle, truck, whatever it may be, call Sweet James. That's the call I've made. It's the call my closest friends have made. It's the call that you need to make. 1-800-9-million. That's 1-800-900-0000 and sweetjames.com.
Steve Mason and John Ireland.
Travis and Sliwa, and it's time for the segment we do around this time, 10:40 a.m. on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Hey, did you see that sky today?
Did you guys see that?
Basically, the days we don't do Ask Slee, we do this thing. It's called Hey, Did You See?
Did you see that? I saw it, I did it.
Did you see the memo about this?
I mean, I'm excited. You can tell by my read. Hey, did you see?
So, hey, did you happen to see?
It's time for Hey, Did You See?
Hey, man, did you touch my drum set?
Have you read this?
Right now on Travis and Sliwa.
Taylor, it kind of bothers me a little bit that you seem to be the only one that's dealing with the Lakers season being over in an effective way.
I took a nap yesterday. It's probably the best sleep I've had in months, honestly, guys.
Read 3 books since Monday.
I picture him
he wrote a book.
Playing his guitar, nice big smile on his face, just enjoying his afternoon, saying no Lakers.
Just watching replays
tonight.
of Lakers Nuggets.
Yeah. Boy, Jokic is great. Falling to sleep of a YouTube highlight rip of Michael Porter Jr.
He got signed on to Locked On Nuggets.
What a passer, though. I mean, that's just good basketball all around, guys.
Absolutely.
Come on.
What do you got?
All right, guys. Did you see that an overdue book was returned to a California library after being checked out for nearly 100 years?
Wow.
So the book, A History of the U.S. by Benson Lossing, was due back at the St. Helena Public Library in Napa Valley in February 1927. So, Trav, when was the last time that you had a library card? Was it 1927?
Easy, Sandoval. No. I think I still have one, believe it or not. I remember getting one a couple of years ago from the Laguna Niguel Public Library. Forget what I needed from the library, but it was one of those things where I actually needed the hard copy of a thing and not just the internet version of the thing. And I had to go sign up for a library card.
Do you still go?
I haven't been since.
Yeah.
I got what I needed. I used it for what I needed it for. And
Did you return it?
I did return it. There will not be a story about in the year 2127 that it got returned to Laguna Niguel. But yeah, I think I still have one, believe it or not.
I do not have one. I almost kind of wish I had one. I think the last time, probably college. The last time I could think of it. It's just, listen, everything has changed. You know, you don't have a reason to have one. If I needed it, I would use it. I don't need it, so I haven't had one since college.
I use it as my government ID to board planes.
Well, there's
you
a
need
lot
a passport or a library card to go international.
There's like a lot of benefits to having library cards. Like certain places, you can get discounted or free museum passes. You can get access to the California state parks if you have one for free. You can get it's free public computers for those who need it. And also, there's a lot of like really cool libraries in this area that are just actually good places to like be around.
Chill.
And like it's like those menial places that isn't your work and isn't your home that you can go and meet people at that you don't have to pay money to go do, which is great. All that being said, I don't have a library card here. I did have a library card when I lived in Connecticut and when I lived in New Jersey before. So, and I use it a lot because I read a lot of books.
Do you have one, Taylor?
I do. Last time I had one, I was living in Wisconsin, but I don't know. I should go check out some of the libraries.
Are they transferable? Can you use your Wisconsin? Like, if you could drive a car in Wisconsin with a California driver's license, can you check out a book in L.A. with a Wisconsin library card?
I doubt it.
Why, by the way, returning a book late, I just remember it's like, I was always late. I'm like, I'll just go 2 days earlier. I was always late. Like always.
You can also always renew.
Well, it's like 5 cents a month. So there's the incentive to get it back on time was not great.
They said that the fees on this one, that the person that had it checked out for 100 years, it only capped out at $10. So that was not too bad.
It's cheaper than buying the book.
It is.
Yeah, but library cards is a great thing. The West Hollywood Library is a great one to check out.
Next up, guys, did you see a list of the most overrated expensive foods had caviar and lobster rolls at the top of the list? So, Sliwa, what expensive food do you not understand how someone could actually enjoy eating?
Expensive food. Let me walk through a menu here and think here real quick. I like the food. I'm going to use this one as an example. I really like the food, but it's like, damn, just for me to get that, go to a Japanese restaurant or something like that, and you're getting sushi. You're getting sashimi.
6 pieces, like a small roll.
Yeah. And it's not
$39.
Here's the thing. It's not all places, but there's certain places where it's super expensive.
Yeah.
That I love sushi. I love the fish. I love, sashimi is amazing, right? Like it's just, you don't have the rice getting in the way. You're just tasting the actual fish. But it's so expensive. That's one that I think is on probably the top of my list.
I'm telling you.
I've done Costco.
I'm telling you, it's great.
Done Costco. Sprouts does it too.
Yeah.
Sprouts has sushi there as well.
You mentioned the one for me. Like it's expensive and it's luxurious and it's something that people seek out and are willing to spend a lot of money for. I don't get lobster. I don't dislike it. It's not like but it's not one of the. You mentioned caviar. Yeah, I'll do that. Like that's one of those things, and I'm not going to buy the tins, but I really, really like it. Like it's something that I really enjoy. But lobster is like it's $9,000 a pound, and it's it's a chicken breast to me. It's just a slightly different thing. I know that's unpopular, but that's one of those things that I just do not get the cost relative to the experience.
Right, yeah, same for me. And most of it is seafood related, so obviously I've talked about this before, but I just dislike oysters. It's not my thing. I don't like being around people who have oysters.
Ice, Emily. It's so
You're not going to convince me. It's not even going to happen. So not oysters. I can take or leave lobster. I've had some great lobster rolls in my life, so there's that part of it that's great, but most of it is seafood related.
Are you an oyster guy, Al?
I don't go out of my way to have it, but I will have it and be completely okay with it.
Sit on the ice, little Tabasco, little
lemon,
little horseradish.
Let's go.
Pretty good.
I didn't need that, but
yeah, how was
that's
that?
why I don't like oysters.
You know what the best part was? I looked right at you while I did it too.
Right in my eyes.
Bad guy. Same for the fish head. That will tell it in 5 minutes.
Right here.
I know.
Okay, last one, guys. Did you see that 54% of Americans eat out at least 3 times per week? So, do you think restaurant workers judge you for ordering the same foods multiple times in the same week, Trav?
In the same week? Yes, I think they probably do. Like, there's a couple of places that we're fairly regular customers at, and they kind of know what we get within a couple of things. But it would be weird if I was in the same place 3 days a week, and you always knew I was getting a turkey sandwich every time I came through the door.
They just start making it right when
Here
they see
comes
you.
that weird. I've told you the story about the pizzas in college, right? Did I tell you guys that story? So they had a. We would come home. It was a Domino's, I think it was at the time, in Isla Vista in Santa Barbara, and they had a 2-pizza carry-out thing. It was like 2 pizzas, 2 medium pizzas for $10, but you had to come get it, right? And so we would come home from practice, and practice would always end at roughly the same time.
Yep.
We would get home at roughly the same time, and my roommate Squiggy and I, we would order these 2 pizzas, and we'd get a sausage pizza and a pepperoni pizza, and we'd each take half of the other pizza.
Also, sorry, Squiggy and Weave were your 2 roommates' names?
Yeah, well, Weave. Squiggy was his nickname. His name is Jeff, but we called him
Okay,
Squiggy.
sorry,
He looked
continue
like
on.
Squiggy from Laverne and Shirley. What do you want?
Duh.
So it got to the point, Taylor, where we were doing it every day for a couple of weeks in a row, where when the phone would ring, and I don't forget what time it was, at 4:30, they'd be like, Squiggy, yeah, okay, it's ready. Just come and get it. They knew that we were going to come and get that pizza, that it was the same thing every single day.
I don't think I'm going to put myself in somebody that's working at a restaurant, which I never have, but I don't think it matters if the same people are coming in and they're ordering the same thing. I think there's also a little bit of kind of a comfort to that, right?
You'd
get
be
it.
happy to have their business, right?
I was going to say, as long as I'd be more concerned of, hey, I'm happy these people keep coming in. Hey, I'm happy that they like the customer service. Hopefully they're leaving me a good tip. Whatever floats your boat as far as the order goes.
Don't you want to try the ham one time? Like, does it always have to be turkey?
How many times do you see
Italian sub?
How many times do you see like people, they go into a diner or something, and say, I've been ordering the same thing for 20 years, and I get it. That's a lot of the same order. But I think that's part of this kind of not just being familiar with the restaurant, but what you like.
There was an older man at Chick-fil-A when I worked there that would order the same thing every morning. He'd use the senior discount. He'd get his like decaf coffee, and then I think he would get usually like a biscuit or something, a little biscuit sandwich, and he would sit there and you'd read his paper, and then on his birthday, he like threw him a birthday party. So
Nice.
it was kind of cute. So
You guys should be in one of those commercials.
yeah, we might as well be.
Those commercials always put a little smile on my face. They're very nice to people there.
They are.
The Chick-fil-A people who work there are pretty nice people.
What's the phrase that
overall.
you're supposed to say to all the customers?
My pleasure.
My
Say thank you.
pleasure. Instead of it's my pleasure to do a show with you. Steve.
And dining in or carrying out instead of saying to go.
Nobody
"You're here to go."
dines at Chick-fil-A. They eat.
I don't know.
There's a difference.
They did Thanksgiving or not Thanksgiving. They do Valentine's
Look,
Day dinners.
I'm a fan. I like it, but dining is one thing, eating is another, and I'm going to stick to that. All right. I thought Corporate Greg, our Greg, knew his baseball. He said something yesterday that made me go, he doesn't. That's next. It's Travis Lee, 710 ESPN. You dealing with a dead battery? If you are, head to AutoZone, America's #1 battery destination. They offer free battery services like free battery testing and free battery charging. Their free battery testing can help you know if you need a new battery or not, or if you just need a fresh charge. And if you do happen to need a replacement, they can help with that as well. They've got reliable replacement batteries starting at just $79.99, and they're the only place you can find proven tough Duralast batteries. So the next time you're having battery trouble, head to AutoZone, your battery solution and America's #1 battery destination.
Angeles. KRDC AM 1110 Pasadena, Los Angeles.
710 ESPN.
A Good Karma Brands radio station.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max in the morning.
LA Sports Talk all day long. 710
ESPN.
All right, so I got a question for you guys. I think I know the answer, and I don't like it already, but I'm going to throw it out there anyway. I just tweeted out a picture of a fish head.
I saw that.
Disgusting.
Okay. It's kind of gruesome looking. It's
you
looks
propped
delicious.
it up, so it's looking right at you.
It's looking directly.
If it was flat on its side, it would be okay.
Like one of those fishes that talk to you, like that used to be on the
Billy
walls.
Billy Bass or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we go to dinner last night, and we sit down, and I order a fish. I order a branzino, right? And I didn't know what it's good. Fantastic, and it was, but the service of it was the whole fish, right? Still has the fins and the tail, and it's butterflied and opened and prepared, but the head is still there, right? As you can see in the picture.
That's when you know it's a good fish.
It's fresh.
Yes.
Right?
Right out the ocean.
So my lovely wife has a very strong aversion to seeing the creature that she's actually eating.
Oh, I know people like that.
Okay, like she doesn't want to see a fish with its head, attached to it on the plate.
The name of the cow.
But even a chicken breast is fine, but a chicken breast on the bone, it's like, oh right, that is actually a chicken at some point,
that was
and
real.
not just a piece of chicken. So she has this and again, we've been married forever, so I know how to push the buttons, and I knew that this fish head was going to bother her a lot. Once they put the plate in front of me, I'm like, okay, this is going to be great. So I would take the fish head, and when she would talk to the person next to her or whatever, I would place it on her plate. And she would look and go, will you please get that off my plate? And I'd take it back. And then she'd get distracted doing something else, and I'd put it on her butter plate, staring at her from another angle. So I kept moving the fish head around the dinner table last night. Just every time she'd get a little bit more frustrated with my deal. Keep in mind, it's not just she really dislikes seeing that fish head. And I did it over and over. Is that being a bad guy, or is that being playful?
You specifically, yes, are being a bad guy. So, Al, I think you're going to be with me on this.
Okay.
This man talks so much about how he hates pranks, yet is pranking his wife.
Why is that a prank?
Oh, why is it a prank? You do it over and over again.
Just put it on a plate.
But that's a prank.
I didn't, drop it down her shirt.
Emily, is that a prank? Is that a prank?
I think it's a cusp of a prank. I think that it is in the prank universe.
Okay, let's.
It's a prank.
I had a second. I want to kind of soak everything in here. I want to get the full story.
You've seen the fish head.
I saw the fish head.
Handsome devil.
It's not just Susan that probably doesn't want to see the animal that she's eating and actually make eye contact with it. I think it's most people that don't. The one thing I will say, I'm surprised at your restaurant, they didn't give you a heads up that the head was coming with the fish.
They did not.
They don't have to.
But even if they did, I still would have gotten it.
But
because it doesn't bother me.
I think that's one where it's like, hey, FYI, it comes with the head.
I think you kind of know most branzinos, I believe.
No,
come
not
with
all
the
the time.
More often than not.
More often than not, they come with
always,
the head.
but more often than not.
Okay, with that being said, the fact that you're using this as a prop like the entire time.
That's a prank.
That is kind of the definition of a prank.
Yes.
If I would have surprised
You're a bad
her
guy.
with it, if I would have thrown it at her, I just put it where she could see it.
It's a smaller prank. but
Next
it's a
thing
prank.
he was waiting is like it's going to be on his shoulder
Like
or
a
her
parrot.
shoulder
Right.
for all I
You
can
did it, didn't
imagine.
You did it, didn't you? You put it on her shoulder.
I wish that I had thought of what Al said. I would have just left it on my shoulder like a parrot, like a Blackbeard, like I'm a pirate going into battle.
Did you say it's a Sicilian message? It means Luca Brasi sleeps with the fishes.
He was delicious. He was really quite
Brasi?
yummy. No, the little guy that I took down last night. Anyway,
Yeah.
Anyway, I just you can let me know if I'm a bad guy
yeah,
or not.
tell him
but
it's a prank because
I
it is.
love when I get the fish head because we can move it around a little bit. It's something I look forward to. The fillet is far less fun. Just like even the skin kind of gives her a bad time. They get the head.
Did you put it on your face?
I got the skin. I got
But
the
that
the
I
head
feel like that's
and
not.
the tail.
I
like
feel
the
like
tail
that's.
is pretty creepy.
I feel like
too.
that's not you with Susan. If it's going to affect her meal,
I don't think it affected her. It was more. I like it when she gets annoyed with me. I like it when it's so easy to get something going like that. Yeah. It's not a prank.
Will she eat a salmon skin roll?
No. She'll eat a salmon roll if it has just the chunk of salmon.
Yeah,
on it,
right.
like
but not the salmon skin roll where it has the little bits of skin on top.
No skin.
It's pretty tasty.
It's delicious. Yeah, nice and crispy and ready to go.
Absolutely.
Why are you calling Berg out on baseball?
Well, he said something that I just thought that smart baseball people knew, which is you and Ireland. I'm going to play this for you yesterday. This is you guys talking about.
You
Ireland
pulled
talking
it.
About Emily.
It's mostly just John. Okay, so this one's just John, but I will add context to the end of it. That is what Berg said.
Deal.
That's why I know both you guys are anti-Kyrie, but the thing about Kyrie that makes it interesting is you don't have anything up for him. You know, if you traded for another player, somebody that you guys would like better, and there are people on that list, like let's say Trae Young, or Klay Thompson, or any of these guys, you got to give up assets.
Correct.
What makes Kyrie interesting, and I'm not saying the Lakers will or should do this, but you can get him as a free agent without having to give up a thing. That's the point you're making about Ohtani.
Yeah.
Right, so they were talking about Ohtani beforehand and whether or not you would want to do a trade with him in this season before the offseason. And yes, Greg went on to say that yes, you do not trade for Ohtani this season.
Correct. You do not. Okay. Unless it's like right now.
Well, okay, but see, we're already figuring out that there are ways that you do trade for Ohtani. You already corrected yourself.
It's not correcting myself. It's more so.
Ideally, you don't. In a perfect world, he just comes to you in free agency and it costs you
the best
money.
Case scenario right there. All you have to do 100%. Is we're paying for his services.
If the Angels called you today and said, hey, listen, we know for sure he's leaving and we can't let him walk out the door for nothing and I'm just making something up here, for Bobby Miller, James Outman, and Diego Cartaya, we'll give you Shohei Ohtani. The Dodgers would be absolutely out of their minds not to say, great, we'll send those guys down there tomorrow. The second you get him in your building, you get a chance to win. You get a better chance to win the World Series because he's here this year. You get the opportunity to really start to sell him on what it is that you're doing as an organization, and you get an opportunity to set this whole thing up moving forward and know exactly what you have. I'm not saying that not trading for him isn't better. But if an opportunity to grab him shows up, you go do it.
I think it depends on when that is. So we've talked about it 100 times, but last year at the trade deadline, I absolutely would have moved everything because you got a full year of him to convince him to stay. Right now, you're 50 games in, maybe it's 50 whatever games in. You still have that 100 games to still convince him to stay.
But end of July is different?
Yes, end of July is different because then you're down to a smaller amount of games where you're giving up all of this stuff because it's not going to be cheap.
But impactful games.
He's not going to be cheap. But what you're talking about is the right thing if you're not the Dodgers. What you're describing if you're the Seattle Mariners, you're the New York Mets, and you think that you're only going to get him for a couple of months and one bite at the apple, that's different. The Dodgers are already very likely to get him anyway.
Right.
So if you think that you're going to get him anyway, but you get you're basically
then why
adding,
are you giving up guys in the minor leagues?
Because it's another year, and it's putting you closer to the title
though.
this year. It's also
2 months.
No, it's not. It's also eliminating the chance of someone grabbing him, Padres, okay, and him going down and going,
they don't have anything.
I'm just pick a different team then.
Sure.
But you go to a different team and you say, that's pretty good. Hey, I like this manager. I like the organization. Don't let him go into another place.
A taste of the postseason with another team.
Do not let him get a look at something else. If he's available, you go get him.
I mean, but there's also the opposite of that can easily happen where he comes and he hates it. And now you just gave up everything that you have in the minors to give him, and then he walks away anyway at the end of the year. I would rather take my chances.
Is that even a remote possibility?
Trae Young, or not Trae Young.
Why would he hate it?
Trey Turner just left. Because he didn't like this area. He didn't like how it all sounded.
But Ohtani knows this area.
But there's no indication.
Max Scherzer did the same thing. He left because of that. Zach Greinke left because he wanted that extra year.
Neither one of those guys were West Coast guys. These were guys that had roots other places. These were guys that wanted to go back to other places. Ohtani wants to be out.
Do you guys both agree with this? That I think it's an interesting argument to make. I think, yes, in a perfect scenario, you are saying to yourself, if we could just give him the money and we keep everything. And by the way, Ohtani, for somebody who's thinking long-term and big picture, he's probably saying to himself, I hope the Dodgers keep everything. Don't get rid of anything. Right? And I think that's
right.
But I think it's an interesting exercise, but I think you both agree he's not going to be available by the trade deadline, correct?
The Angels are winning games.
They're 5 games above 500.
Yeah, they're winning games.
Yeah.
They're in the mix. I look.
But he should be if you're the Angels.
This is why This is why I'm asking the question, because what the Angels should do, let's stop with that, because they're not going to do what they should do. They're going to do what Artie Moreno
he should have sold the team. He didn't.
Okay, can I just throw one thing in there? And you're right. What you said of that what they should do is very rarely what they do. But let's say we're getting closer to that trade deadline at the end of July. If you're the Angels, you have to go to his representation and say, listen, are we in this or not? I'm not saying you got to sign now, but do you at least think that we have a shot to keep him? And if you get that, oh, I don't know, man, anything's possible, he's got to go. You have to move him.
But if you're the representation...
And fair, they're not going to trade him.
Right, but the representation, doing their due diligence, should say, yeah, you're absolutely in this. Of course you are. He loves it here. This is something he's been here for
He's got a chance to make the playoffs.
He's got a chance to make the playoffs. He absolutely he wants to, because he doesn't want to lose all, like Sliwa was saying, you don't want to lose a bunch of guys on that team that could possibly come up and help
This is why if we're playing the exercise...
should not allow it to happen.
Berg, this is why I think if we're playing the exercise of... Let's say he becomes available, and the Dodgers are one of the teams that have a shot to go trade for him. This is why I'm going to lean towards Travis on this. God bless what the Dodgers have already done this year. God bless that they are sitting basically neck and neck with the Atlanta Braves of the best record in the NL, and that's with guys that have got injured. That's with no Walker Buehler. That's with bringing up guys from the minor league system. You also don't want to waste this year. That there's a legitimate chance you put Ohtani on your team this year. You're not going to tell me that does not increase your chances of winning the whole thing. And then on top of that, then you sign him to that long-term deal, and Ohtani's in the mix the whole time.
You are paying twice in that situation.
You
as
are.
long as you're okay with paying for it twice.
There's two things here. Number one, never let perfect be the enemy of good. Right? Perfect rarely shows up. Right? So if something good that you can do is there, you should probably do it. And trading players to get the greatest player in the last 3 or 4 years, and maybe one of the greatest players ever, is a good deal. Okay? Here's the other part. Think about it, and I don't know if this is perfect, but it's close enough. You like this house. Okay? It's on the market, but it's at a premium. And you're saying, I'm going to wait. I think I can get it for less if I wait a little bit longer.
You could lose the house.
You could lose the house, and it's gone. And you're like, well, I should have bought it when I had a chance. Did I have to overpay? Yeah, maybe, but you needed to go in there and do it. In a perfect world, they just take them at the end of the season, and they keep every last one of their things.
Sure. Shoulda, woulda, coulda is always there. It could be both ways, too. The shoulda, woulda, coulda.
It's available.
I should have waited till the end of the year.
Okay, let me play this. Let's say Ohtani's available. And the Mets and the Mariners and the Giants, you got all these other teams fighting. And they're just offering... They're offering a at what point do you say we want
a Padre type deal for Soto?
They're saying they're offering, and at what point do you say we just no longer makes sense for us to go try to get Ohtani this year?
There's a price at that point. Mm-hmm. Sure there is, and that actually might work in your benefit because you're like, I'm out on that, and I'll try again at the end of the year.
But that then really does open the door, like you mentioned. He gets a crack somewhere else. That might be. Listen, Juan Soto may have never come to the San Diego Padres in free agency,
would not have.
But this was the only way to get. I'm just using Soto as an example because it's the latest one. That's the only way some of these teams get a player like that. It happens in the NBA, it happens in the NFL, and it happens in Major League Baseball.
And there is always that opportunity of like Paul George went to OKC and then he ended up staying in OKC. Well, the Lakers could have traded for him and brought him in, and they decided not to because they thought they were going to get him in the offseason, and he ended up staying.
You can get him in the building.
That is a possibility.
Get him in the building. 877-710-3776. 877-710 ESPN. Do you go all in right now, or do you wait till the end of the line? We'll do that. Plus, the Dodgers didn't win the series, but they're in a pretty good spot heading into a 2020 World Series rematch. It's coming up next. It's Travis Lee, 710 ESPN.
All right, every day there are drivers on the road who decide not to buckle their seatbelts. Some of those drivers will be ticketed by law enforcement. Some of those drivers who crash won't make it home. Buckling up is the single most effective way to protect your life in the event of a crash and make it home safely to your loved ones. Don't risk it. Click it or ticket. Paid for by NHTSA.
The fun way to drive.
show that begins 9 hours of LA sports talk all day long. Each weekday, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. This is Travis and Sliwa on 710 ESPN.
All right, before we get into the Dodgers and the Rays tonight, or tomorrow night, they're off day tonight. They start the series tomorrow night. That World Series from 2020, with they're going to kind of run it back tomorrow, is the least run it back thing ever. The Dodger team, I was looking at it, it's a totally different team. There's a handful of guys that are still there, but it is a very different, it just kind of brings home again how quickly they turn that thing over from a team that won the World Series to a team that won 111 games to a team that they're here right now. This is all in 3 years, and they had 3 different teams along the way. It's pretty crazy.
And built completely different every time.
Totally.
Right? That's just it's incredible. It really is.
Built with different players, but built the same way, if that makes any sense.
It does, but the last year's roster, the way it was built versus this team's roster is completely different. Some trades, some this and that. But obviously they're bringing guys up now.
Let's try a phone call. Let's go down to the OC, Newport. Brandon, you're on with Trav and Slee.
What's up, guys? As an Angels perspective, I think Artie sucks. I agree with you. I think every Angels fan agrees with everyone that Artie's an idiot. But I think if he just keeps letting Perry do what Perry does, I think things are going to hopefully turn and maybe Shohei will stay. It's a very, very long shot, but, I mean, I think Perry's just doing some good things, bringing in key guys. You look at Urshela. We knew Rendon was going to get hurt. He's Rendon. He's made of glass. Yada, yada. We all know the things. But, yeah, I think if Perry just keeps doing what he's doing.
Brandon, I got a question for you for just kind of the pulse of Angel fans. Does everybody basically – I mean, we look at this more, Trav, we're having our conversation. A lot of insiders think Ohtani's going to probably walk away and he's going to end up with the Los Angeles Dodgers. What do Angel fans feel about the situation? I mean, do Angel fans just – is it just, hey, let's just enjoy – Shohei Ohtani for this year because there's a very strong likelihood that he's no longer going to be wearing an Angels uniform?
I think so. I think it's like, I don't know. You know, I listened to the Locked On Angels podcast, and they kind of got high hopes too. And what they kind of talk about is I think Shohei likes the community and the teammates that he has, and I think you can see that on social media more. He's posting more. Patrick Sandoval posted a picture of him. I think Angel fans are trying to, like, ride that, but I think we also know, like, Artie's just dumb, and we've seen it year after year, pulling the plug from not selling the team. And at least for me, I'm just trying to go to games and witness him because I don't know if this is going to be the last year. I'm just trying to go and see what I can see because it is very rare, and, I mean, the dude's a beast. So
yeah, it's unprecedented, literally, by the definition. We've never seen this before. It's very unlikely that you're ever going to see it again in any of our lifetimes. That's why if you got to, air quote, pay twice, I'm okay with it because this doesn't come around twice. I don't want to miss, even if my chances are still good by not doing it, if I can just do it and get it over with, I want to do that.
Can I say one thing here? Imagine the high and low as an Angel fan that you had and I'm not sure, you tell me, but the one thing that I think everybody thought when Artie Moreno decided, I'm going to put the team up for sale, there was a moment there where you're like, this could get a little interesting. Sure. You get the right owner.
Sure. Like Joe Lacob.
You go get somebody that has a track record in sports. You get somebody with deep pockets that, Shohei, we get it. We know you want to win. Give us an opportunity. We're going to turn this thing around, and we're going to do it the right way. You go from that to the – I mean, just the hope of I'm selling the team to then that statement coming out, I'm no longer selling the team. And it just they were almost better off never announcing that there was a glimmer of hope that he was going to sell.
It's a very good point. Brandon brought up something interesting. Perry Manassian, he kept saying Perry. Perry Manassian's the Angels general manager. He knows what he's doing. The Angels are not a bad baseball team this year, right? They just swept the Red Sox down at the Big A and looked good doing it. Last night, Trout and Ohtani both hit home runs, and their bullpen seems to be quieting down a little bit. Still not great, but a little bit.
How's their starting pitching?
Average to slightly below average, but it's not dreadful the way that it's been before. Right. But he mentioned some names. Hunter Renfroe, Gia Urshela. They brought up Neto at short. They brought up the left-handed Moniak that has been hitting home runs. They've got some pieces here that have been put in place by the new regime. Here's what I'm going to throw back at you. Do you really think Artie Moreno is going to change who he is at this point in his life? And of course he's not.
No.
At some point, he's going to get involved again. Because the reason I think so is because he always has before. So I'm going to assume that what's happened the 500 other times is going to happen the 501st time. So I don't think that he's going to be able to build a successful winner because at some point he's going to want to get re-involved. You know who else knows that? Shohei. Mm-hmm. Shohei's representatives. You know who else has shown that they do the right thing over and over and over again and have a good team over and over and over again? Are the guys up the road, the Dodgers. They don't get in their own way. They're pretty ruthless about how they go about doing it. They're pretty cold-blooded. They're very calculating, but they put together a good team. And if we've heard Ohtani and we're taking him at his word, I want to win, where's the best chance for me to win? Not just in one season and try to catch lightning in a bottle, but give me 4 or 5, 6 good looks at it over a 10-year window. It's right here. It's with the Dodgers.
Okay, can I play devil's advocate here? What do you think would not be of interest to Ohtani with the Dodgers? What would be? And I'm going to throw one that I think maybe this. I think sometimes you see certain franchises have an incredible amount of success. They've had success without you. They've had success before you. They will have success after you. Is there anything from Shohei Ohtani that can look at the Dodgers and say, I don't even believe in the argument, but I'm going to try to present the argument of, yeah, but they're always good. Yeah, but they Mookie Betts is there, and Freddie Freeman is there, and Clayton Kershaw is there.
To the Warriors-y? Is that what you're getting at?
I'm just trying to. What would be an argument for Shohei Ohtani to say, I can do it here where it's not as big of a surprise, even though, let's be clear about the Dodgers. They have won World Series since 1988, so let's not pretend like they've won 4 of the last 6.
Right.
But with that being said, I'm just trying to think of what's unattractive from a why would Shohei say no?
Why does he?
What's
say
the
no?
downside?
The downside is that he gets blamed if it doesn't happen, and that would have been a larger concern to me prior to the World Baseball Classic. Ohtani was very comfortable on that stage, like almost awkwardly so, that he had not been in something like that in a very long time.
How about his speech before the freaking game?
And the dude just like, okay, the whole world, the whole baseball world is watching me right now. Watch this. The dude was just money. That I think there are some situations, because like what you said, the Dodgers have been very good, but they're not racking World Series year after year. They're not. So there is room to go up. And if you show up and they go up, you get all the credit. If you show up and they don't, I think there's at least the possibility of, we spent, $60 million a year and we're still not in it? I think there's some of that. That would have been a concern a year ago. It's not. The concern is he just gets blown away by another offer. There's not a baseball reason not to come. There's not an organizational reason not to come. There's not a geographical reason not to come. There's not a community reason not to come. There's no other than someone else just says, I would be terribly irresponsible not to take. Dodgers are often making up numbers. Dodgers are offering 55. Team X is offering 75. I have to take it. I have to. I can't leave $200 million, whatever the number is, on the table.
Sure.
I really think that's the only way it doesn't happen, unless there's a part of this that we don't know. Maybe he hates the color blue. You know what I mean? Something stupid like that.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. The Dodgers aren't going to turn green. They're not going to do that. They might.
They might. Yeah, they might. They might consider changing
there
their
isn't
colors.
a good baseball reason to do it. Let's try another one. Let's go to Jonathan in L.A. Jonathan, you're on with Trav and Slee. What's up?
Hey, how's it going, fellas? Big time Angel fan. Sad to say it, but I think Angels need to go ahead and trade Ohtani. And if I were the Dodgers, I'd be giving up every prospect I can. I just feel that if they don't do it, the Mets might jump in and sign him next year, especially with that relationship he has with the Mets GM that was a former Angel general manager.
Mm-hmm.
And how Berg said, they can't afford to have that Paul George treatment when he gave the Lakers, that resentment he had that they didn't trade for him and decided to sign elsewhere. And also that Mets owner, he has the money to do it. So I wouldn't risk it if I were the Dodgers, especially, that they want a championship so bad.
Yeah, Jonathan, I agree with you. I think
he just might not be available.
Ireland and Greg have their idea is the best idea. Just pay for him once. But if your choices are hope to pay for him once and you'll probably get him, or maybe overpay a little bit and you're gonna get him, it's not a hard decision for me.
This is a stupid example. I'm going to give a really bad example here. I like always setting up that I think it's going to be a bad example.
It's true.
It's almost as if, you got a chance to go out with this girl on Saturday, and you're like, no, I'm going to wait till Tuesday. And she's like, okay, cool, but I just want you to know I'm going to go out with somebody else on Saturday. What if they just click? Like, do you want that?
By the way, that's not a bad example.
Do you want that? Do you want that opportunity for her to be like, my God, we just had some great chemistry. I want to go out with this guy again on Tuesday.
Yeah. Look, I'm not saying that paying once isn't better. I'm saying that losing him is the worst option.
Mm-hmm.
And if paying twice means I eliminate that option, I'll do it like that. They should look. Andrew Friedman knows what he's doing.
Don't play hard to get.
Nope. Hey, we're thinking about that. Okay, let's sit down. Let's have a talk. What do you want? But they're going to ask for everything.
Yeah.
And you say, I can't give you everything. I can give you 70% of what you're asking for. How about that? No, I need a little more. And now we're negotiating, and now Shohei Ohtani's starting Dodger Stadium 2 weeks from now.
Here's the one thing.
Is it expensive? Sure.
Here's the one thing that I worry about very little with the Dodgers. Very little, but there's a little bit there. They also they reach a point where they say, I don't think this is a good deal. So you're now negotiating versus somebody else that's like, that's the only way. The only way that the Padres could get Bogarts was we got to offer 70 more than what the Red Sox would offer, and now he's a San Diego Padre.
But that's the Dodgers opting out, not Ohtani saying I don't want to come. Like if the Dodgers said, listen, we can't do that. We can't go to 70. Good luck. We just can't. We can go to 58, but that's as far as we're going. We can't do it. If that extra $12 million a year is worth it to you, all right, see ya. We're gonna keep moving.
You say that way too easily.
They don't make bad deals, Al. They don't make bad deals. They let Corey Seager walk. They let Trey Turner walk. They let guys leave. They don't make bad deals. When they like it, they'll go Freeman, Betts. Sure. But they don't do the one that makes you go, okay, that's a bad deal. The second Xander Bogaerts was signed to that deal, baseball, we went, that's a bad deal.
Mm-hmm.
Not yet, it's not, but it's going to be, and that's what the Dodgers are very reluctant to do.
It already is. He struck out 4 times yesterday.
Factor Cap. Coming up next, it's Travis Lee, 710 ESPN.
All right, we continue to talk about a new partner here on 710 ESPN, Sierra Subaru of Monrovia. I'm looking forward. It's such a great brand. Subaru just in general. The 2023 Outback, I've got a chance to drive around, and it's great for those road trips, those adventures that you want around Southern California, really around the entire state. But at the same time, too, it's a very safe vehicle. It's a great family car. But outside of just trying to sell a great product like Sierra Subaru has there in Monrovia, they do a lot for the local community by focusing on the very impactful Subaru Love Promise. On May 31st, Sierra Subaru of Monrovia is helping to provide support to local education by sponsoring 2 exceptional students from Monrovia High School and providing a $1,000 academic scholarship for each student to enable their scholastic success and further their career goals. You can go see for yourself right now at sierrasubaru.com or visit them at 735 East Central Avenue in Monrovia, just off the 210 freeway. Again, they are doing so much within the community, so please, please, please go to the website, sierrasubaru.com.
Hello there. My name is
That's so cap, Dad.
Everything I've said is a cap, but I'm going to go back.
First of all, it's not a cap. It's
no, it
just
is a cap.
Welcome to Factor Cap.
Hey guys, I don't think I've ever seen Berg and Trav get as heated about a sports topic as I have in that Ohtani segment. You were
Berg
going at him.
threw his pen at him.
And
Trav, just how quick he moved, incredibly impressive.
Star effing driven down.
Throw back at him.
You had what?
The fish head to throw back at him.
Right.
I'm just gonna go back and see if they still have it. Can I have my fish head back? I should ask for a box.
That's all you want back. The fish head to go.
Sir, there's only the head left. Yeah, like
to go. I bought it.
Box for the head, please. Keep the tail too.
All right. So last night I babysat, and I was babysitting for someone while they were.
Celebrity the babysitter, Emily.
Yeah,
Eagle.
sure. I'm gonna be discreet, so it's a person that people might know who they are. But they
What
were.
does their last name rhyme with?
So we were in a hotel, and so he said at one point in time, he was like, "Oh, you order whatever you want from room service," and he's like, "I'm being serious. Many people say order whatever you want, like order whatever you want. Like if it's steak, get steak. If it's whatever, get whatever." So anyway, at one point in time, I went to go order, and I had to use a landline for the first time in a very long time. I mean,
Did you
I
order
use it here.
oysters? Did you get a couple?
Fish heads.
But I ordered it from a landline, and I use it here at work, but I don't really use it outside of life very often. So you don't remember the last time that you used a landline, Travis Factor Cap?
Fact. I really, truly don't. I think I mentioned this to you guys. When was the last time you heard a phone ring that wasn't a cell phone? When was the last, just the soundtrack of an office when I first started working, the phone was ringing nonstop. When I started producing, the thing that my ear was attuned to the most was my phone ringing because I was getting calls back for guests and all these things. And everybody's phone's ringing in every office all day long. When was the last time you heard a phone ring at all?
Now it's like Slack or phone messages.
Nothing.
Yeah.
No. So I mean, I'm sure I've picked one up at some point, but I don't remember when.
Al?
A few years back on the sales side, on the business side, we all had our own personal phone, office phone. Nothing at a home. A home, it's it's kind of funny because my mom still has, and I think this is not uncommon. They still have a house phone.
My folks do too.
House line, everything else. But it's, whatever. It's wireless, this, all that stuff. When you're actually picking up a phone and you can't go anywhere, there's only so much distance that you can go.
Yeah, like here at work when we take calls here.
But that's literally that exact phone. We're making all our calls on the other side. So that's a few years back, 5 years ago, let's say.
Taylor?
Fact, yeah, for me, it's been at work too. So I use this phone here sometimes, but I'll be honest, half the time I don't know how to operate it or what I'm doing. I hang up on the callers, so yeah, it's difficult.
Maybe this is a future Factor Cap. I don't know. What did you get from room service?
I got I was trying to thread the needle and not be like, oh, I'm going to order the most expensive thing. So I ordered a burger.
There's a mistake.
But the only kind of burger they had was a Wagyu beef burger. So I had to suffer through a Wagyu beef burger and then a Caesar
Can I get
salad.
double
patty?
Double patty. Some avocado. I'm putting everything on there.
And I also got a coffee because I had to stay up later than I normally do. So I got a coffee.
I'm going to guess. You had a Wagyu beef burger and a coffee. That's it?
And a Caesar salad.
Was there any chicken or anything on the salad?
No, and it's a half salad, like an appetizer version.
So burgers.
I got a number.
On the 40 with the premium of coffee is probably $55.
Al?
Would you even? Were you looking at the pricing? I wouldn't even be looking at the pricing. I'd just be like,
I'm just thinking burger. A cup of coffee.
I would go
$45.
$45.
Okay, Taylor?
60.
I would say double what Al said. Yeah, to get delivered. So.
Nice.
Hey, it's not.
Hey, he said get whatever you want. Nice.
Anyway, all right. So, speaking of people who are well known right now, so this week so far, and for Brooks Koepka, has been as follows. Sunday, he won the PGA Championship. He won $3 million. Monday, so he's also a South Florida native. Yes. So he's from South Florida. So Monday, he attended the Panthers-Canes game, Game 3. We all have seen that video.
Oh, yeah.
Tuesday.
Oh, yeah.
He attended the Heat-Celtics Game 4. And the Heat had the opportunity to move on. The Panthers did move on in a sweep. And then Wednesday, he watched the Panthers have the Stanley Cup berth. So if you wanted to be anyone this week, you would want to be Brooks Koepka. Alan, Factor Cap.
I think that's fact. That's a pretty good stretch right there. That's a pretty good. Not only are you individually having a tremendous amount of success in the occupation that you have and making an incredible amount of money, but then you get to ride that wave, right? You ride in that wave. You're going to other events. Everywhere you go, people are going to have a camera on you. That sounds like, and everything is sports related. That sounds like a tremendous week.
Yeah, you might not even sleep, right, Travis?
We'll get to that in a second. Can I add something to his week?
Yeah.
The reason his lovely wife, Jenna, was not at the PGA Championship to celebrate with him on Sunday afternoon.
Oh, right, yes.
Is because she was shooting the Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition.
Okay.
But, he gets that all the time.
Well, I know, but it's also a crowning achievement for his wife.
Right.
Like, she was very excited about that.
Makes sense.
Not only is he very happy, but his significant other is very happy about what's going on in his life, or her life. So, happy wife, happy life. So, he gets that on that end as well. Now, back to the other thing. The answer for me is Cap, for the reason of, Al, have you seen the video of him at the Panthers game clapping his hands?
Not at all.
Okay.
Not blinking.
It's, what is it, Emily, 20 seconds?
Yeah, probably 20 and 30.
Not good?
His face is...
Not good.
Red.
He's
not good.
His nose in
awake.
particular is red. His eyes are bugged out, and he's clapping, like, maniacally clapping. Not a single blink.
Yeah. Nope.
For the better part of 20 or 30 seconds.
Okay, I did not know about that. I did not know about that. Can I subtract that portion but still get everything else?
It is a look.
You don't have to do that.
It fit the stereotype of rich
South
Floridian very, very well. I don't know. Maybe he just had a cold. I could be wrong.
Sure.
It is cold in the arenas.
Whoa.
Taylor.
It's a lot, Taylor. Still like everything else.
Fact for the most part, but get yourself a nap.
Yeah.
Yeah, get some sleep.
Whoa.
All right, so this is not a spoiler, but in an episode of Ted Lasso, their penultimate episode, you get to meet a character's parents that we don't normally get to meet. Actually, two different characters' parents that we don't normally get to meet. It adds a little bit to the character. You see a little bit more about them and why maybe they are the way that they are. And so meeting someone's parents, when you don't know them in the family sense, it's like the just work sense. So meeting someone's parents is the most eye-opening thing that you can learn about someone. Taylor, fetch your cat.
I think fact, yeah. I like asking parents questions about, I don't know, just people that I'm interested in, and I think it's very telling, and you can find out a lot about somebody, how they grew up.
Trev?
Yeah, I'm with Taylor. I think it's fact. I think you can get a very good sense of, because you kind of have a sense of who a person is anyway. Like they're an extrovert, an introvert, whatever it may be. And then you meet the parents, and it either is the exact opposite of what you would expect, or it's, yeah, now I know why that person is the way that they are, that they grew up in that house with those people.
They had a tiki bar in the front.
You get a sense of it. So, yeah, I think it's fact. I think you get a lot of insight.
Al?
I go Cap, and the only reason why I go Cap, I think sometimes you can find out a lot. I think other times the parents are just talking about how their son or their daughter is the greatest person in the world. I'm like, well, do they not do anything wrong? I mean, are they just perfect in every aspect of their lives? So I think there's a little bit of, I don't know, it's the parents always going to say good, great things about them.
Not mine.
Yeah, who are these parents?
Yeah, I was going to say, I've met different parents than you have. I mean, we take turns telling everybody how terrible our children are.
Lovely.
That's how it goes.
All right, one last one for you guys. So today is National Wine Day, and I'm also going up to Santa Barbara next weekend, so I definitely need tips on what to do. But
I can hook you up.
I have a lot of wine tasting in my future. So wineries are better than breweries. Al, Dr. Cap.
Fact. And I think if you told me, hey, do you want a beer or a glass of wine? It's tough. They're both very close. I think I'd lean towards a glass of wine. And I associate a winery like you're talking about, right? I could be outdoor. I could be walking around, and it's like kind of a big open field. There's something to that that's very, very appealing, I guess you can say. So, fact on that, I'm going to a winery.
Trev?
Yeah, it's fact for me that both are fun, and you're going to have a good time both places you go. A winery is just prettier. A winery usually has pretty good food attached to it. Like you were saying, Al, sometimes you're outside and there's the vineyards that are out there. brewery could be like in an industrial park.
Or I've been to breweries that are also in very beautiful places.
Sure. But wineries are almost always in that pretty spot.
Agreed.
That breweries are frequently in somebody's garage or a industrial park.
Yeah.
I like both. I'm saying yes to both invitations, but one or the other, I'm gonna take the wine.
Taylor?
Fact, yeah, there's, I think, equal snobbery in both of them, but at the winery you have
different ends of the spectrum of snobbery.
But at the winery you just have the gorgeous outdoors most of the time, and that's hard to beat.
You do get the beards and mustaches at the breweries, though. The brewers have a very interesting facial hair component to that experience.
The one thing about breweries that I give them a lot of credit for, they always got some kind of games going on.
That's what I was going to say.
That's a good point.
And
TVs, you can watch games at them.
That's a pretty damn good thing. I went to a brewery down in San Diego, a couple months ago or so, and you're right, it's in an industrial area, and they just pull open this garage.
It's fun.
And I'm like, this is a great place.
They have a scent to them, though. They kind of
that malty, yeasty mash that comes out does
Yeah.
not smell great.
Yeah.
That's not a great thing. I want you to think that garage door goes open sleeve, and instead of a parking lot, there's rolling green hills and vines over a trellis.
Listen, I'd rather be outdoor, but brewery's not a bad place either.
All right, how bad do you have to be to get the number one pick in the NFL draft? I think I got an answer, and I don't like it. That's coming up next. It's Travis Lee, 710 ESPN.
Harris Resort SoCal is located out in northern San Diego, out in the Palomar Mountains, 2 hours away from downtown Los Angeles. It's a great place for a staycation. If you want to avoid getting on a plane but feeling like you actually left for a vacation, couldn't recommend Harris Resort SoCal anymore. I've stayed in their resort tower room. Beautiful, beautiful property. It's got the chill, relax, but it's also got the entertainment. 50 table games, 1,500 slots. As the weather gets better here, you could try California's award-winning trifecta of pools, voted one of 10 best resort pools in America by USA Today. Also, a great another feature there at Harris Resort, California's first and the nation's largest Hell's Kitchen location. It's a menu approved by the Michelin star celebrity Chef Gordon Ramsay himself. You could book your reservation at opentable.com. And we were just talking about breweries. Rincon Reservation Road Brewery is the first tribally owned brewery in Southern California. It's conveniently located at Harris Resort SoCal. Let's go to the website, get all the information there. HarrisSoCal.com. That's HarrisSoCal.com.
Wake up
Now I kind of want to go to a brewery. I want to go to that place you were talking about, Slee, the industrial park. Slide the door open. What? Did they have cornhole? Did they have like the big Connect 4 board? What did they have there?
Okay, so
shuffleboard.
It was me and cousin Slee. A lot of random. You'd have like a pin on the wall and a ring on the other side with a rope, and you're just basically
ring game.
Yeah, just like small games like that I have not really ever played. There's another one was kind of like a balancing board, and every time you rolled the dice, let's say you got a 6 or something like that, you got to put your whatever, it was like a block of wood, you could say.
Okay.
You got to put it on number 6, and whatever the balancing board, whoever it ends up collapsing, then it's out. Like games I've never seen before that were awesome.
Those games, like if you and I just went to go play those games, like right now, we'd be bored in 5 minutes. You've had 4 beers, you'll stay there all day.
2.5 hours.
Yeah, you'll stay
2.5
all day
hours.
long.
Yeah,
no, those are
fun.
We might have to rerun Factor Cap. I might want to change my answer because of those games. At the winery, they're telling you to sniff for the black currant flavor.
Yep.
I'm like,
you guys got more cheese?
Can I just have some more cheese and another glass of wine, please?
A couple more crackers.
Yeah, how much for a case? That's really all I'm looking for. But if I get to swing the little metal ring onto the hook, I'll be there all day long.
Why'd they put all that together in one?
We're
all set now.
Wine people are not ring hook people. They're a different crowd.
Well, you can have, your cheese and your accoutrement. So, my favorite winery in Virginia is actually backed up against a polo match field. So again, you could have there's polo and then there's ring
you got to tuck your shirt in there.
In Virginia, I thought she was getting backed up like a NASCAR track or something.
No, okay. We have civilized society.
I know you do, but I thought that's where you were going. I didn't
go
think
pet
you were
horses
going.
if the polo matches aren't going on too, so you can go be there. So.
All right. OTAs, the Rams have another workout today, and I think we talked about it yesterday. There's the optimistic view because the conference stinks, because there's nobody that's really super good outside of Philadelphia and maybe San Francisco, that there's a path to a playoff spot for the Rams. That if you win 8 or 9 games, maybe that's good enough. You stick right around 500 and you slide in that 6th or 7th playoff spot.
Yeah.
Possible? Sure. Likely? Maybe not. The other side, of course, is Caleb Williams and getting your hands on the number 1 overall pick to go pick a guy that is, never say never, but likely to be a very, very good NFL player. Here's the problem. Rams aren't bad enough to do that. The Rams do not have a roster that's going to win 13 or 14 games, but they also don't have a roster that's going to win 1 or 2. And that's about what it takes to get that top pick. That you just going backwards, this is how many games you had to win to be the first pick in the draft, starting with the Bears last year. 3, 3, 1, 2, 3, 0, 0. Okay, 3, 2, 2, 2. So the average is about 2 wins per season. As maybe unstar-studded as this Rams roster is, they're not 2 wins bad. They're just not. That Aaron Donald and Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp, if they play, they're going to win more than 2 games. In the NFL, the very, very bad teams win 4 or 5 games. So the question becomes...
And sorry, I had a typo. It's not 2 zeros. There was 1 0 and a 1. So don't want to do the Browns any disservice.
Yeah, they did win 1 game over 2. I think Hugh Jackson was the coach of both of those teams. 1-31. It's quite a run for the Browns. But no man's land is the most likely landing spot for them, right? Which is 5 or 6 or 7. And that's the part that's really scary going into the season for them. Can you get to 8 or 9? Yeah, you can, but you're probably not bad enough to be 1 or 2, and you're going to land somewhere, and you got to make a decision of, all right, we're just going to pick for need, we're going to pick for best player available, or I got to put together another Jared Goff kind of situation to move into that top spot and hope that whoever does have it is willing to do a deal. They're not in. It's weird to say they're not bad enough to get the pick that they need.
We kind of talked a little bit about this yesterday. Would you be shocked if the Rams won 7 games?
No.
Look, this is why I have a difficult time with the Caleb Williams conversation, is because it's not, if Matt Stafford's not on this team and Aaron Donald was not on this team and Cooper Kupp was not on this team, if they didn't have some real star player, we're a year and a half away from them winning a Super Bowl. right? That I just don't think it's realistic. That's all.
Yeah, but that Super Bowl team is long gone.
You're right, but there's
your big pillars are still there.
There's still enough talent. That's the only thing I'm talking about. Now, listen.
But there isn't.
Okay, let's use last year as an example where right out the gate, guys are going down or they're injured or this. Even though there was expectations last year, the only way you get back into that conversation of Caleb Williams is, let's say you start the season out 0-4, that even with the talent that you have, you ain't winning games.
Right.
Right? That it's... And then I think that it starts becoming a little bit more like, oh my gosh, they could probably potentially end up with a number 1 pick. I have hesitation because I don't think after 6 games they're going to be 1-5. Okay, let's put it this way: if they're 1-5, I know the schedule gets a little bit easier as you go.
Yeah.
If you're 1-5 through 6 games, you got to be all in that strategy.
You don't even have to squint that hard out. They could be 2-7 through 9. Mm-hmm. It's the back is the problem. The back is where there's a bunch of winnable games.
And then if you look at this list of the teams that have gotten the first pick, that have earned the first pick, not traded up or all these things, it's Bears, Jaguars, Bengals, Browns, Buccaneers, Texans, Chiefs is an outlier. But all these teams are structurally bad. To be this bad and to be that tank worthy, they have to have bad GMs, bad coaches, bad players.
Yep.
The Rams have a exceptional head coach, a great GM, and a fantastic quarterback in some respects. So it's really hard to be that structurally bad with what the Rams have.
You're 100% right. My counterpoint is, and I'm literally not arguing with you at all, go look at their roster. Go look at the 3 guys that aren't the 3 guys that we just
40
named.
rookies, essentially.
They've got half their team is going to be made up of guys that have never played in the NFL before. You mentioned the talent now. Think about last year's team won 5 games. Bobby Wagner, gone.
Yep.
Jalen Ramsey, gone. Allen Robinson, gone. Greg Gaines, gone. Like these,
they're better.
They were bad last year with really good high-level players on this team. They are top-heavy. Doesn't even begin to describe it. I don't even know what it is. It's Kupp might be the best at his position, top 5 if he's not. Aaron Donald, best at his position. If he's not, he's top 2 or 3. Matthew Stafford's probably not top 5 in the league, but he's top 10 or 12.
Yeah.
Right? He's in there. Find me another guy that's top 30, 35, 40, right? It drops off fast after those 3 guys, and I don't think it's an accident. I really don't. And the structure that you're talking about, Em, I think is actually they've put together a team that it's not quitting. It's just, and listen, we really want to be in a position to maybe have some options because the talent just doesn't exist beyond those top 3 guys. Maybe they drafted a bunch of guys that are going to be awesome. Maybe. And like you said, is there a path to 7 wins? Yeah, there is. The question is there a path to 2? I think that's a far more interesting. It's going to be a hard season. It's going to be a hard season, and a lot of things he's going to have to break their way for them to get in it on both ends. On both ends. All right.
All right, let's explain it here. So we got this draft coming up right now?
Yes.
Okay, so give us exact details. I think this is a tie to the Boston Celtics tonight.
So Boston Celtics played tonight. They had the chance to be eliminated from the postseason, so we were all probably rooting for the Celtics to get eliminated.
Yep.
And they're a team you love to root against. So the snake draft is going to be teams or athletes, individuals, that you love to root against.
Okay. All right, teams, athletes.
Can we go 20 rounds?
I might have rules, too, and stuff like that. All right, this is going to be random, but okay, I like it.
We're going to need to go beyond 3 because I'm going to have to really whittle this down. That's next. It's Travis Lee, 710 ESPN. Is here, right? It's Memorial Day weekend coming up, and you're probably going to jump in that car at some point. Probably going to go for a drive to see friends. You're going to go to the beach. You're going to go have a good time. Well, before you do that, make sure that your car is ready to go. Does it need a service? And if it does, head in your neighborhood Valvoline Instant Oil Change, home of the 15-minute drive-through oil change, because for over 30 years, Valvoline has provided quick and convenient automotive maintenance services for busy people like you and like me, which means you don't have to get out of the car at Valvoline. You stay in that front seat, nice and comfortable, nice and safe, while they go to work on your car. You can send some text, you can take a quick nap, listen to some music, listen to a podcast, whatever you want to do, while the expert technicians make sure that your ride is at its best. Oil changes, tire rotations, transmission care, and more. Just pull up, drive in, and drive out in about 15 minutes. Visit SoCalOilChange.com for locations and game-winning coupons off of your next Valvoline Instant Oil Change. Do it today.
station.
And here we go. It is Travis Rogers, Alan Sliwa. Travis and Sliwa is on for you Thursday. We're here each weekday, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. We begin 9 hours of LA sports talk all day long.
Here we go.
Live from LA Live. Sweet Tea, Travis Rogers. Hit him in the face, Sliwa.
I'll still take the face.
Travis and Sliwa right now.
Yeah. Get to pick things that we root against. This is very exciting.
Right down your alley.
All right, just to remind everybody, so the snake draft today is going to be for in honor of the Boston Celtics maybe getting eliminated tonight. Let's knock on wood, hope that happens. But we love to hate the Celtics. We love to root against the Celtics. All right, so we're going to draft teams, athletes that we love to root against. The order is Travis, Taylor, Emily, Allen, then back up and then back down again. 3 picks total. All right, so Travis, let's start you off.
So I'm going to go with just kind of a very sportsy one right out of the gate, and for the reasons that Emily mentioned. Okay, it's a basketball one. It's from when I was a kid, and it's when this stuff was absolutely the most important thing in my life, year after year after year. And it's Larry Bird. And it was Larry Bird because he was awesome. It was Larry Bird because he was the exact opposite of Magic Johnson in every possible way, in personality and game, and just other than they were both amazing players. And he gave the Lakers and Magic the business frequently. And he was so, at the time I didn't get it. I miss having someone to hate that much. I really miss it. They're just
Larry Bird,
it doesn't
first
exist.
one off the board.
Larry Bird is my number one choice.
Al? Sorry.
Yeah,
Taylor.
I was going to say, I think I'm fourth.
Yes.
You shouldn't have said it.
Excuse me.
I kind of wanted to. I wanted fourth.
Okay, for my first pick, I'm going to choose. I don't know if you can really say they're arch enemies or rivals of the Minnesota Twins because they've always come out on top and beat them in the playoffs. But the Evil Empire, the team that was buying teams before buying teams was a thing, the New York Yankees, my number one choice.
Ooh, wow. I have just a great... I thought this was going to take it off the board. I know you weren't going to take it, but I think everyone knows what I'm going to say. There's a lot of hate. There's a lot of respect and hate.
Yeah,
okay? So I do respect his talent, and I think that he's a fine quarterback. But he did beat my beloved Stillers in the Super Bowl, and since then have just been, him and I are just adversaries, I guess, and he doesn't even know it yet. So Aaron Rodgers is my first pick.
Yeah.
Not shocked there. I don't think this one will be too big of a shock as well. I genuinely, from my soul, hate Dean Spanos. I want to say that again. There's some people that just hate on the outside. I hate from the inside.
In your DNA.
In the core. I hate Dean Spanos.
I love it.
He is my number one. Number two, I shouldn't give them this much credit. And it's not like they've even done anything. Why do I have such a difficult time with the Clippers?
Yeah, I don't know.
Why is that?
That's a Slee thing, but it's your list.
Let me tell you, there was a time where Michael said that he'd rather see the Celtics win a championship than the Clippers.
I don't get that.
I don't understand why we're like this. Now, I wouldn't go that extreme because the 17-17.
They've never been in the Lakers' way.
The Clippers just get in. I don't know what it is about them. Put Clippers in my number two.
All right, so my second pick is not going to go where you guys think it's going to go. It's not that person. The next person is a deep-seated hatred.
Is it the kid that you ran against for vice president?
No, not Jake Hockman. Drop that one. This one has to do with my time at UVA. This person.
Oh, I know who it is.
Honestly, would always
Bucks?
mess with us. Always is the reason we would lose to this team, and in the most infuriating way. And he is still doing the same stuff in the NBA right now. So Grayson Allen.
I knew the second you said UVA,
we
knew
knew
it was. It was Grayson Allen.
Taylor.
Okay, so from the NBA, my least favorite current player on any team, I think this is what makes the NBA good. Is because you have your heroes, you have your villains, and it's fun to root against somebody. And I guess that's what this whole draft is about. But Draymond Green for the Warriors, for whatever reason, just always, I don't know. Like, I think it's I'm pretending that I'm doing something, and I'm pretending I'm not doing it. I don't know. The whole playing the innocence card just always gets to me, and kicking people below the belt is also not cool.
Trav?
All right, so this one is entirely personal. It's not even necessarily connected to his team beat my team or anything like that. I already took care of that in the first round. I'm going to take care of it on the flip side. But in the middle here, it's just the utter lack of authenticity in this person. The fact that every single thing that he does, to writing his wife a love letter, to how to clap on the sidelines of an NBA game, on how to
do it.
high five people
Don't
coming out
you
of a tunnel that
freaking do
don't
it.
exist, and a commercial with, let's ride.
You stop.
I am taking
You ever done anything
Russell.
dangerous?
That's the man. Give me Russell Wilson in my second spot, because everything about that guy makes my skin crawl, other than he has a very lovely and talented wife. The Giants, San Francisco Giants. I can't be a Dodger fan and not have. I still see Joe Morgan's stubby little arm up in the air as he's going around first base at Candlestick Park after hitting that home run against the Dodgers to knock the Dodgers. The Giants won like 11 games that year, but they showed up to beat the Dodgers. Joe Morgan was so far past his prime at this point. Joe Morgan, Hall of Famer, but he couldn't play dead in a cowboy movie. And there's that arm in the air, home run, running around, Dodger season over. Tommy Lasorda looking like somebody just ran over his dog. So I got to have the San Francisco Giants.
Taylor?
Okay, for my last pick, you guys know me. You know I have to choose a Los Angeles Laker, and it's going to be, I think, surprising to some of you. It's not Shaq, even though he called the Kings the Sacramento Queens. It's not Kobe for all the times he ripped out the Lakers' hearts. It's not even Robert Horry for that infamous shot. It's actually Derek Fisher. For whatever reason, that little guy got under my skin.
Is there a little Russell Wilson in there for you? Is that part of it?
Russell Wilson?
Yeah, a little disingenuousness.
From Fish? I think, yeah. I mean, after he retired, I think some things might have come out about him that, he maybe not be the coolest guy in the world. And I got that some of the Russell Wilson from him, too.
I thought you were going to do Joe Buck because of all the, you do that drop
disgusting.
of the
Oh, man,
all the time.
That's a good choice, actually.
It's not my pick. I am not a Joe Buck hater necessarily. He hasn't done me wrong. So I'm going to go 3 for 3 on individuals here, just because I'd like to have beefs specifically. So this person, he went up against my beloved Steelers a lot. So he beat the Steelers a lot. And I think the key phrase of this draft is love to root against. So no matter how many times this person is playing, no matter how much their greatness, because there's a lot of respect. He is the greatest of all time. But I respect him and I love to root against him. Tom Brady.
Oh, okay.
So Tom Brady is my third pick. Beat the Steelers a lot. Compete against him in the AFC. Had to go through him every year. And I love to see him lose in the postseason, which doesn't happen all the time. All right, Alan, round us out.
All right, I'm going to close this out. I don't know if this qualifies. Jealousy. Does jealousy qualify in something like this?
I don't follow.
I'll tell you where I'm jealous. The Dodgers don't look at the Padres as anything. I hate that. Okay? Like you just said that instantly you went with the Giants, right?
Joe Morgan, he ruined their season.
Mace, I remember
Robbie Thompson.
I remember Mace would say, "Oh, the cute little Padres,"
Yeah.
right? Like almost like he's squeezing
Tousle
the
their
cheek
hair.
right here. Okay.
Sure.
Every single year, the only thing Padre fans worry about is the Dodgers. You can have respect for how a franchise is run, and you could also be incredibly jealous of them being
you
ran
want
that
jealousy
well.
and not the Dodgers themselves?
No, I want the Dodgers.
Oh, sure.
Because of jealousy.
Oh, yeah, great reason.
I'm also jealous of Tom Brady. Like that's
yeah.
There is or maybe even this is a perfect example for Taylor with the Yankees. You're jealous that they had that much success.
This is why the Clippers doesn't make sense to me. The Dodgers are in your way.
You know, actually, the one thing that when I thought about the Clippers, and I would like to replace them, is it too late to replace them?
We'll see.
I already sent the list to social, so sorry.
Well, no, you haven't, because I haven't. You didn't even write Dodgers down yet.
I did. You see it on
What
the
is it?
street.
Paul Pierce.
I like that.
Paul Pierce, I hate more than the Clippers.
You get my permission to change it. Taylor, can we
Okay,
outvote the
sure.
commissioner?
We'll change it. I'll
Yeah.
send another email.
We'll give it to you, Slee.
I love how
Like she had to
the fact
dig a
that
new
you had to
coal mine.
reply all.
Inconvenient.
They have to go to her sent items.
Strike Clippers, add Paul Pierce.
She can't do it.
Do
Pure
I am?
jealousy of the Dodgers,
That's
and
great.
it kills me when you say like you don't even recognize that they're even in the NL West.
Yeah, I mean, they really haven't been. But we'll see.
Other
We'll
than
see.
4 games.
You know,
That's it.
Here's how you know that it's not the Padres. I really like going to Padre games. Like
I know.
when I turn on a Padre game, I'm not even necessarily rooting against them. It's like, they're playing Giants. Kick their
who
ass.
Was saying? Funches was saying a couple days ago. He's like, man, I really want to get down to Petco. I'm like, awesome. He's like, I'm wearing my Dodger jersey. I'm like, well, they're not even playing the Dodgers.
I wear my Dodger hat when I go. Why not?
That's fair.
How about this one, Em? This is from Animal Fries. Well done. With the 432nd pick in the most dislikable sports figure, we have a trade between Travis Rogers and Emily Hebel.
Okay.
No, I feel like you and I could keep going for quite some time.
Yes.
That we
I thought that we were the people on the list.
Well, here's
no.
funny.
That we have a 432nd pick.
Yeah, I could go longer.
The fact that we've
Chancellor
done
High
this,
School.
We've done this for, I don't know, probably a couple months now where we're doing the draft order. I don't think we've ever used the full 12 minutes of a segment, and we used it on the most hated. Like, a lot of these are done 5-6 minutes in.
Emily, tell me the name of the kid that beat you for class president again.
Class secretary.
Class secretary.
Jake Hopple.
Jake Hopple?
Yeah.
Okay, I really want to remember that name.
Paul Pierce feels so much better that I put him there.
It's a better choice. I'm glad you changed it, and I feel better for you.
I have Dean, Pierce, and the team that just owns the San Diego Padres.
Your list, regardless of your next two picks, was going to be the most personal because of the Spanos connection. Whatever came after that was going to pale in comparison. But the intensity of the dislike, you win. Like, your dislike for that is more than the other 11 picks in the draft combined.
What a piece of you-know-what.
But again, if you guys have people that you love to root against that we don't have on our list that are very personal to you or not, please send them in.
Chris Paul, very. I wish I had a couple more picks here.
Welcome.
Yeah.
Come on, embrace it. Isn't it warm in here, Slee?
NBA reviews. I wanted to use that.
Soak in the warmth of your hatred. Right.
Hatred, jealousy.
I feel like the Emperor from Star Wars. Feel your hate. What?
Dark side.
The dark, yeah. Come to the dark side, Slee. LeBron coming or going? Shams has a thought. That's next. It's Trav and Slee, 710 ESPN. Somebody has participation trophies in the things that they hate. That's not bad. Just drafted things we like to root against. And it kind of went from athletes and teams we like to root against and just things that we hate, right? Like rooting against participation trophies is, I get it, the culture and all that, but it's just some little 8-year-old getting a soccer trophy. It's not that bad, is it?
Heck, what do you do?
John Ireland. He really hates participation trophies, and he really hates your trophy specifically.
Well, ours isn't a participation trophy. It was well earned on the pickleball courts of Fountain Valley. Yeah, no, that's
skill duo,
like the Stanley Cup.
That's what they want from us.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Have you gone to look at the Brooks Koepka video yet?
Should I need?
You need to see it. Emily, send him the Brooks Koepka video, please. It's
sure.
It's interesting as well. All right, let's talk. I'm still waiting for the first person that heard LeBron say, and I got a lot of things to think about with regards to the game of basketball. Shams Charania was on with McAfee, was it, Emily?
Yeah, Pat McAfee.
Yeah, he was on with Pat McAfee talking about how he interpreted that particular statement.
Do I expect LeBron James to retire? I don't. I fully expect him to play next season. What? All I've heard those comments is that he will be playing next season. That's my sense. But again, I think he's going to take the next couple months to really see where his head's at and see if he can get re-energized.
I listen, I don't think there are that many people that do think that this guy is going to decide. I just watched the video, by the way. What the hell's going on there? He didn't blink. The man didn't blink.
He's just locked in.
Look at his face, like his nose in particular. He seems like he's got a cold or something.
It's chilly. It's a hockey rink.
There's a lot going on in that video. Seems to be having a nice time, but anyway.
Yeah, he's got a lot going on there. Okay. I don't think anybody. This is. I didn't walk away from anything that happened after the Lakers season to think that LeBron James was going to hang it up, or some of the trade rumors that were he's going to end up in Golden State. Okay, I also don't think that's going to happen.
I don't either.
I think one thing's going to happen. I think LeBron James, when training camp starts next year, if he's healthy, he'll be at training camp. If he's not, he's just trying to recover
he's getting healthy.
To get healthy. I don't see really any other scenario playing out. What I do see happening is LeBron James probably having a conversation with the front office. Guys, we got close, but there's going to be so much more competition next year. I'm sure Bron was so disappointed in how the season finished because Denver was better, but they weren't, oh my gosh, we have no chance to beat the Denver Nuggets. Yeah. I think it was D'Lo, they had to play perfect basketball to extend that series.
They're not as good, but you're right. They're not a million miles away. They're just a few miles away.
What won't help either is Denver now knows they can beat the Los Angeles Lakers. They swept the Los Angeles Lakers. They're only going to get more and more confident in themselves from that perspective as well.
Sure.
But I don't think the Bron thing is much of a conversation for me in that. I think the conversation is, what does Bron want? What does Bron want? This offseason, is LeBron James, is his number one goal, go get me Kyrie Irving? Is his number one goal, hey, you know what, guys? Rob, I got so much faith in what you did with this roster. Maybe even, I don't know how involved, but I'm sure he's involved.
Yeah.
If I step away and I really wanted Russell Westbrook to come here, and it clearly didn't work out. If I get the hell out of the way, I got faith and I got trust that you guys do have the best interest of trying to make one more championship run. I'm just curious of what Bron wants. What does LeBron James want? And you said something yesterday. Does what LeBron want line up with what the Lakers want?
Mm-hmm.
And does it line up past where LeBron is gone? Does it still line up with the team?
Yeah. The best read on it, I think, because, again, everybody is just like, no, he's not retiring. I think everybody just immediately kind of dismissed that as incredibly unlikely, and I'm among them. My question is, I think the best scenario is he did it because he was just exhausted. It was what John was saying. It was what you were saying, that this was a long season with a ton of travel, and they played deep into the postseason. It was a very emotionally grueling season because think about this.
Got injured right in the middle of it. People telling him to.
Not only that, he broke the all-time NBA scoring record this season. That feels like 10 lifetimes ago. It happened this season, and I would imagine the march towards that took some both physical and emotional toll, and the letdown and whatever it is, whatever that letdown is after you reach that summit is something that you got to ramp it all back the way up again to go play in the playoffs. That you do come up short, that you have a unbelievable performance in an elimination game that just simply, as great as it wasn't good enough. It wasn't good enough to will your team to victory, which is something he'd already been able to do. Maybe it was the culmination. It was a bad season with Russell Westbrook that just the thing was just toxic and there was just a lot of negativity at the early part of the season. All of that stuff together was, man, I'm so tired. I can't even think. I don't know what I'm going to do next. That's fine. That is a human, normal thing to do. The other part is, we're doing this passive aggressive. I need what I need, but I'm not going to tell you what I need. You need to read my mind what I need. I'm going to drop breadcrumbs that I need, but I'm not going to tell you explicitly what it is that I want.
Taylor talks to me.
It's a weird, and it's very LeBron. Mm-hmm. He's done it multiple times before, and now it's the timeline. So what are we doing on the 1 year thing? Are we doing it on a 2 year thing? Like what is it exactly? I don't know. I wish it would just be a little bit more either not there at all, where I'm going to talk to Rob about what I want. It's none of your business. We'll let you know when we make a decision. Or just say, look, I think we got to fix this, this, and this. That's fine. He's earned the right to do that. But this oddly cryptic messaging he does so frequently is, I don't know if it's great for the organization, because it's just one of those things like, what are we doing here? Are we going left, right, straight, backing up? What are we doing? I can't read your mind.
I didn't think about this yesterday. Did Lakers talk last night? Windhorse is on the show, and I asked how he interpreted Braun's comments. And he said that initially he was trying to kind of try to figure out, was this just out of nowhere or was it scripted?
Mm-hmm.
He said if you listen to the final question that LeBron was asked during the postgame after they get swept, he made those comments at the end of he knew it was the last question coming.
Right.
So Brian was basically saying, like, he thought, at least from his interpretation, this was already planned.
I don't know what I'm going to do?
Yeah, because the last question did not necessarily tie into his final answer, and this is the final, I'm done. I'm walking off the podium after this. He didn't say that in the first minute of their post-game interview, that he thought this was premeditated, as in he had already thought in his mind, if we lose tonight, I have this, I'm going to make sure that I'm saying something like this at the end where there is this is just his interpretation. He doesn't have Brian Windhorst, he kept emphasizing this. I don't know what his message was and what he meant, but this is what I believe. If that's the last thing you say at the end of your interview, they say, hey, 2 questions left. Hey, this final question. And he says that towards the end, that he felt like, and then he still gave a little bit more to Dave McMenamin after that. I think a little bit to Chris Haynes, asking for a little clarification. That he mentioned that was probably already in LeBron James' head when he was having those comments. So he walked
just so I have it straight in my head, he goes to the podium with, the last thing I do when I walk off of here is I'm going to drop that ball.
Yeah, it's a strategic. Windhorse's interpretation was it was done in a way, and the fact that it was done at the end
to leave it ambiguous.
I'm going to drop this at the end. It didn't happen 3 minutes in. It didn't happen 4 minutes in, or something like that. And
look,
whatever you want to do with that, I think that's an interesting.
But I think that's what do we want to do with it that makes it even more interesting, right? Because look, if Brian Windhorst thinks that that's what happened, it's very likely that's what happened. He knows how to read the LeBron tea leaves probably better than anybody. He's been around him for a very long time, and if he senses that's what that was, I'm willing to believe that that's at least likely. Okay. So
from his standpoint,
yeah, but again, when you're around somebody for that long, you start to know what they're thinking. You start to know how they operate. Why did he want to leave a big fat question mark at the end of it? If it was done with that much pre-thought, why? Like what's in it for the Lakers to do that? To have that question mark be hanging there at the end. If it was plan A, which is, I don't know, man. I got a lot to think about. That's fine. But if it was, hey, the last thing I'm going to say is, I'm going to leave everybody going, wait, well, what did he say? That's a very different plan. That is intentionally dropping a big fat, wait, what? At the end of it and walking out the door with kind of like, well, let's see what you do with that. It's just odd.
The fact that it comes from Braun, I think, is less of a surprise to me than if somebody else said it. Because I think with LeBron, because LeBron could do it.
I'm not surprised he said it. I just want to know what it means.
But you could be doing it. What made it so interesting was Braun kind of questioning whether he's going to play again or not.
Yeah.
That's what made it interesting. But I also don't think it's that much different than when he's in Cleveland and he's, I'm not sure what's going to happen. Yeah, you have a player option. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to do. When he was signing those 2-year deals, 1 year guaranteed, 1 year player option, I don't feel like it's that much different than that. The only threat now, and I don't want to call it a threat, but
variable.
Yeah, is I could potentially just not play.
But nobody believes it. Literally,
but nobody believes it.
Literally nobody believes it. I'm waiting for the first person that says, guys, I'm telling you, I think there's a really good chance he doesn't come back.
I guess that's the question, is it necessary or is it not? Because
could he hold out like a NFL running back style holding out?
But what are you holding out for? Wow. What are you holding out for? That was you.
That was
I don't know. Get Kyrie, get someone else. I don't know.
But the only reason why I say there's no reason to hold out is because, and there's also not really much reason to tell us, because you can just go to the front office and just say, listen, this is what it is.
Welcome.
Either
that's my point.
Either you're going to go get me what I want, or I'm not going to put my body through all of this again and give you 40, 10, and 9 and play 48 minutes, and we can't win one game against the Denver Nuggets.
I have no problem with him expressing his desires to the team. I have no problem with him expressing his desires publicly. Neither. It's the ambiguity. It's this. I don't know. Maybe I will. Maybe I won't. And everybody automatically goes, well, we know he's coming back, so what does that mean? And we're left to guess. And maybe the Lakers aren't. Maybe the Lakers have had the conversation and they know exactly what it means. But so why just attention? Is it just look, I can appreciate the idea of I put the fish head on my wife's plate last night just to aggravate her, just to get a reaction, right? So I understand the impulse to just say, watch, I want to get these people all worked up over nothing. Okay, if that's what it is, no harm, no foul. But
it's funny.
What if it's more meaningful than that?
So 2 things here. The juice you've got out of the fish head today is amazing. That's incredible. That is
it's a perfectly apt comparison.
Yeah. On top of that, I would say this. Remember when sometimes players say certain things and you're asking yourself, okay, is that going to help the front office or is it not? Is it going to hurt the front office? The Lakers were so desperate to make a trade to get Russell Westbrook out of here that doesn't help when everybody knows that you're just trying to get rid of this guy. Are you going to throw out the 2 draft picks? Are you going to go do this? Everybody knew that they were trying to get rid of Russell Westbrook. I'm sure that doesn't help you in November and December when you're months away of leverage, right? Does what Braun say, does that help the Lakers? Does it hurt some of their leverage? Does it? I'm using this as an example. Don't you want some of this stuff kind of quiet? Don't you want some of this stuff not on sports talk radio and all the national and this, that? I just don't know what the benefit is by letting us know.
That's what I've been saying. What is the meaning of it all? What's the value of it all? And I don't think there is any, unless you just like to sow chaos, which, okay, fine. If you're the Joker in this situation, cool. But I don't think he's the Joker. I think it's much more calculating than that. All right. The Dodgers and the Rays get going on another series tomorrow, and the teams, when they played for the World Series a few years ago, are not the same 2 teams they're going to play tomorrow night at the Trop. That's next. It's Trav and Slee, 710 ESPN. Hey, if you get hurt in a car accident or a truck accident or a motorcycle accident or a dog bite or any sort of accident at all, you need to call Sweet James. Simple as that. 1-800-9-MILLION. Anybody can remember that number. 1-800-9-MILLION. That's 1-800-900-0000. Because if you're injured in an accident, why not go get the very best? And that's what Sweet James is. They've been awarded best attorneys in America. Personal injury is what they do all day, every day, with an unbelievable track record of success. Over $1 billion collected in his nearly 20-year career. Getting you the medical care that you need, making sure that your car is fixed right, and putting their own time, money, and expertise into strengthening your case so you get the maximum compensation. coming your way. Call Sweet James if you've been hurt in an accident. It's what I've done. It's what my closest friends have done. It's what I would strongly recommend that you do. 1-800-9-MILLION. SweetJames.com. 1-800-9-MILLION. That's 1-800-900-0000.
Travis Rogers, Alan Sliwa.
Do you have like a taco guy, like a go-to person, like in your phone, his name, and then it says taco guy, or no? I'm honestly, like, do you go to the same person?
We have a couple that we use.
Travis and Sliwa on 710 ESPN.
So Dodgers get one of their few nights off tonight, Slee. They're headed to Tampa, where they beat the Rays in the 2020 World Series, which is still... You tell me.
Okay.
That feels like a long time ago to me. It's only three seasons ago, but it feels like ancient history.
We had a Hey Did You See a couple weeks ago, and it was what's something that was not that long ago, and it was COVID, right? Where you and I directly went to COVID, and we're like, why does that feel, it was 28 years ago, but it was just a few years back, and everything that fell in line during COVID around sports feels like a long time ago. The Lakers winning a championship in the Orlando bubble, I swear it was in 1999.
It feels like it.
So all this is, I think, associated. It goes with the Tampa and the Dodgers as well.
And because it was so odd, just like the Lakers in Orlando was odd, the Dodgers and the Rays played in Texas. They played in Arlington in the Rangers ballpark, and the Rangers had nothing to do with it. And there were, I don't know, what was it, 10,000 people in the stands? It was just surreal. It made no sense at all. That... I don't know. It does not feel like 1988 feels. It does not feel like last year when the Astros won the World Series. It was just a normal kind of
And it's okay to say that. Yeah. Some people don't like when you say that.
It's not
just
less.
In general.
It's just different.
Remarkably different.
Yes.
Like, let's not pretend. It was a 60-game
60-game
season. You're playing in stadiums where there's nobody there.
Never played a home game.
Never played a home. I mean,
so weird.
The only thing that you could say, obviously, you didn't have a parade or anything like that as well. The only thing you could say, people say, yeah, but NBA. Okay, NBA, it's different too. But at least you had X amount of games already in the bank. You already kind of knew who the best teams were. It's a little bit different from that perspective. And then you got to Orlando and you couldn't shoot too high because there's a chandelier above you because you're playing in a ballroom.
So the Dodger team that's going to roll into Tampa tonight. Tampa's the best team in baseball. They're about to win again today. They are just they're running away with the American League East, as hard as that is to believe this early. And every other team in the division is above 500, and they're running away with it. It's pretty remarkable. The Dodgers come in with a team that, even though the World Series was only a few years ago, it's such a different team.
Yeah.
I just want to go through some of these guys that were not just on the team that won the World Series, but played key roles on this team. And this is in alphabetical order, so but Pedro Baez pitched big innings for that Dodger team that year. Cody Bellinger, I don't even need to add anything, right? Big hits in the NLCS and in the World Series along the way. Victor Gonzalez is back now, but had been gone for the last couple of years. Another big name right there. Kike Hernandez, how important was he to what they got done? Kenley Jansen is gone. Joe Kelly is gone. Jock Peterson is gone. A.J. Pollock is gone. Edwin Rios is gone. Corey Seager is gone. Blake Trinan is not available right now. Justin Turner is gone. These aren't guys that were just on the team. These guys all had key roles in what they did. It was only 3 years ago. All of those guys are down the road. And while the Dodgers haven't won a World Series since then, they've been in the mix every year. They've won the division or been in the playoffs every single year. This group of guys that's here, it's basically Will Smith, it's Kershaw, it's Mookie, Muncy, Taylor. It's like half of your guys, and the other entire half of your roster is on other teams are out of baseball. It's extraordinary how they've been able to do it.
Are you – I hate that. Ask this question this way, but I'll do my best to try. I remember coming into the season, we said that there was some excitement around Dodger baseball because it was different. There wasn't a guarantee or a lock that this team's going to be incredible. Let me put it this way. If the Dodgers right now were at 500, would you be shocked?
No.
Okay. I'm with you. I would actually thought what they're doing so far to me is much more surprising than I thought coming into the year. So the fact that they're having this much success, but
31-20,
there was some excitement coming into this year because there was the unknown. Last year, you'd watch a Dodger game, and it was 3 out of 4 games you're going to win. There was not much.
That's right.
And I'm not telling you that that's not good. What I'm saying is it's not that exciting because you have a good. You pretty much already know what the result's going to be. This year is more exciting if you're a Dodger fan because there is that. I'm on a roller coaster, and I don't know when it's going up and it's down and where it's churning and this, that. Rather than I know exactly where I'm going. There's nothing really that exciting about it. I wake up in the morning, and I know I get 3 meals a day, and I get, there's not that much that that throws you off.
Yeah.
This Dodger team, as you're saying, the way they competed a couple years back, the way they compete
a totally different team.
It's not just a totally different team. It's more exciting because of the things that we're saying. When you watch Dodgers baseball today, there's a little bit of unknown, and that unknown, I think, is exciting. Is Alman going to have a great night? Is he going to strike out? Is he going to do this? How's Vargas going to do? What's some of these young pitchers are getting thrown in against the Atlanta Braves out of nowhere? That makes it a more exciting brand of baseball, and that, to me, is, I think, what makes it more surprising.
I can't wait to see what they do a week from now, a month from now, as we get a little closer to the All-Star break, because we're about a third of the way through the season, right? They've played 51 games, which is almost exactly a third of the season. And they're, like you said, they're better than I think anybody thought that they were going to be. And not just, look, if you would have told me that they were 31-20, I would have believed you, but it would have thought that, well, then Mookie must be out of his mind. Freddie Freeman must be, going crazy, and Muncy's back and all these things, and Kershaw's been great. Some of those things are true. Some of them are not.
Julio hasn't been that great.
Julio's been average for him. Kershaw's been a little bit better than average for him, but James Outman, who had him as an important part for the first third of the season, who had Miguel Vargas as an important part, who had no Gavin Lux, right? That Miguel Rojas is doing these things, that you've got 2 kid
J.D.
pitchers.
Martinez had moments, sure.
It's just a weird mix of guys that could go bad at any point, right? Which brings me back to what I was getting to. Do you make a move? Do you try to say, listen, as good as Bobby Miller was, as much optimism as we have for Gavin Stone, and Ryan Pepio is going to come back at some point. Kershaw's going to go down. Julio is down. May is down. Bueller is down. Noah Syndergaard is, who knows, right? We got Tony Gonsolin is our rotation right now, basically. We got to get some guys. You don't have to go get Corbin Burns from the Brewers, who's one of a top-level guy. But we just got to go get a guy that can pitch 5 innings every 5th day. Even if he doesn't win all these games, we just got to go get some guys. I think that's going to give you a little insight in how they view this team, whether or not they want to kind of stay in it by making some marginal moves, or whether we're just going to ride this out and whatever else happens, because this is a transition year. We are not going all – we know what we're going to go all in for when it's time to go all in for. We're not making a half measure right now.
Yeah, I have a difficult time with this, and maybe this is why the Dodgers are the Dodgers, but when you're already this good, when you already see so much promise with a lot of the players that you have, when you're in the conversation every single year to potentially win a World Series. And this year is a more interesting one because I don't know where people thought, but there were more question marks coming into this year than there has been in the past. Why don't you try to? Like, I'd have a difficult time of why the Dodgers would not say, guys, there's enough talent here. Yeah. We can make a run.
The short answer is we're going to be here again next year too, and we're still in it even with this level.
But I don't like that. This is going to go back to the conversation we had. I can't worry about next year. I could plan big picture, but I can't say I don't know what's going to happen next year. Yeah. If I'm in the mix, do you think the Dodgers have had moments where last year's a bad example because they won 111 freaking games, okay? But I have a difficult time. The rich getting richer in sports, that happens. Yes, you got somebody that comes in out of nowhere and maybe they run the table. But if it's World Series or bust every single year for the Dodgers and they have the infrastructure to make it happen,
and it is,
then how do you not say, I'm not going to take any chances. I don't care. Even if we got just a little bit better, I'm going to find a way to improve this team. I don't know what's going to happen next year.
I think I don't disagree with what you're saying, Al. I think the difference is that what their whole thing is, you can't win it every year, but you can be in it every year, right? That the randomness of the postseason, and I'm tired of hearing the Dodgers talk about the randomness of the postseason, but the random of the postseason, it is what it is. The way that you win it is by constantly being close to it. The way that you never win it is by being in no man's land, making bad deals, doing things that only help you today or for the next couple of months. Like the Scherzer thing was short term. We're going to get it done, but he's done. He's out. We're done. Trey Turner, we get him for another year. If we lose him, we got another guy. They always have multiple forks on the road, that they never get caught into one fork, and this is all we can do. Whether or not you overpay in a moment, I think that's case by case. But the way that they play it is, we're just going to be in it every year. Eventually, it's going to turn. Eventually, that randomness is going to land on our side. I think that's what they're counting on.
So somebody could make a case and say, your philosophy is amazing, but show me the end result.
Yeah. No, it's not.
And that's the only thing that I would say is, it's not like they had 3 rings over 10 years and said, guys, this is the way to do it. They got one, and that one is always the one that we go back to and say, 60-game season.
Ohtani's the key to everything. Get Ohtani and the world is right. The Dump coming up next. It's Travis Lee, 710 ESPN. So when people aren't sleeping in my Silverado, I'm still driving my Silverado, and I got it, of course, at Rotolo Chevrolet. Not the only one. Bought a different car at Rotolo as well. So if you're looking for a new Silverado, you're looking for whatever it is you're looking for, get yourself on in to Rotolo Chevrolet in Fontana, California. Right off the 210 freeway, Sierra Avenue exit. It is right there. And when you get there, you're going to see a sea of Silverados. You've never seen so many Silverado live. So whatever you're looking for, they've got it. They've got unbelievable pricing. You can see it all on their website, rotolochevy.com, ROTOLO, rotolochevy.com. But you got to go into the store. You got to go onto the lot, 210 freeway, Sierra Avenue exit, to experience that customer service for yourself. There's a reason they've been Dealer of the Year for 13 years in a row. There's a reason they lead the nation in sales volume year after year after year. It's because people come back. It's because people tell their friends. It's because people feel good about shopping for that Chevy car or truck at Rotolo Chevrolet. Come find out what all the fun is about. Find out why Mike Capozio's dancing all the time. Go on into Rotolo Chevrolet and tell them that Travis sent you.
Hi, I'm